And away we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. The Rob Brown Show is on the radio. Hello, upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. Hello, world. Great to be back with you again on a beautiful upstate Wednesday afternoon. I am Rob Brown. Directly across from me, the man in charge of the broadcast, button switches, knobs, gears, wheels, pulleys, and other applicable simple machinery to make the show sound as good as it does today. The great one, hashtag Dad Kicks, Colonel Grudge, the alpha and the omega of ESPN Upstate. Don't believe me? Just ask him. Lonzo's in charge.
It may be beautiful looking right now, but they're on the horizon, Rob. It is snow clouds. They're moving in. You can feel the panic throughout the upstate. It's palpable. You can feel it.
What's the left knee prognostication today, Zoe?
It's still a little on the uneasy side. We're still a few days out. But I see the clouds. If you look way over there, you can see them. You're actually looking. See? You see them?
Contrails! Chemtrails!
Chemtrails, yeah. You gotta get it right. It's contrails.
That's the government putting them chemicals in the air to make the snow this weekend.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
They're preceding the clouds.
Yeah.
Because you got to precede them.
What they did, they go on up there and they drop the chemicals that make the snow behind the planes up there.
See, here's a problem here. You've got some really good accents. Your southern accent, boy, it's not really that good. You need to work on that, fella.
I haven't practiced as hard as you have, apparently.
Yeah, mine's hereditary. So, I mean, there's that.
Ladies and gentlemen, busy day on the broadcast today. A lot of stuff we need to get into today. Tim Tebow says that Georgia is just starting a run of dominance. He says that they will be what Alabama has been for the last 14 years or so. Is he correct? We'll break down that claim. We are going to talk about the New York Giants briefly. Hang in there. I'll tell you why. Joe Judge no longer the head coach of that team after just 2 years. I'll talk about that. We have two stories about the Carolina Panthers today. One, they have settled their first offensive coordinator interview. We'll tell you who it is. Remember, we said yesterday, apparently, according to Ian Rappaport and others, David Tepper needs Matt Rule to make a hiring of a, quote, rock star, end quote, in order to keep his job security. We saw that NFL teams are not jumping the gun on Monday, Bloody Monday, to make firings. As Joe Judge was let go, can Matt Rule be next based on the first OC interview that has been scheduled? We'll tell you about that coming up in a minute. And we have now gotten quotes as the Carolina Panthers did exit interviews yesterday. Players speaking to the media for the last time before they ride off into the offseason. We got some quotes from some players that we'll get to you here in just a few minutes from right now. Plus, we have a big announcement about an interview that I am very, very excited about tomorrow. I will tell you who we are interviewing later on in the show. You're going to want to stick around for that. But for the sake of making sure that we finish the lunch break on time, and as we always do, keep a very tight schedule on this show. Never a time error with us. Let's start it how we always start it.
Let's do lunch.
This is a very nutritious lunch. All the food groups are represented.
You guys here?
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Steph Curry with another triple-double. He's pretty good at basketball and pretty good at shooting the rock.
He also owns his own line of binkies.
Hater. Steph Curry's very good at the basketball.
Until he messes up and throws his binky into the crowd. No, I won't let that go. You know why? I have a certain moniker for a reason.
Certain moniker? Colonel Grudge?
For life, yo.
What did Steph Curry ever do to you?
I had to wear a dress because of him. I will never like Steph Curry.
I mean, I feel like the choice to wear, like, it's not like Steph showed up one day and said, Lonzo, put on a dress or I'll beat you up.
If that's, I'd steal his binky and he'd cry and go home. I'm not worried about fighting him. No, I lost a bet. And the powers that be down the hall thought it would be funny if I were to lose the bet that I'd have to wear a dress. And I did. So I will forever detest the sight of his binkiness.
Who's a professional athlete you honestly think you could win a fight against?
Are we so we're
Any sport. I'll leave like curling on the table. Who's a professional athlete you honestly think you can win a fight against?
well, even though I am
Male.
an expert in curling because,
Yeah,
I've done it.
We're bona fide curlers.
Yeah, I've done it.
Winter Olympics coming up in just a couple of months, and if you don't believe we're going to do a maybe depending on how hotly contested the gold medal is, a daily curling segment, you don't know me at all.
All right, so this is, I know how this is going to sound, but I can beat up any figure skater.
I honestly think that's in the realm of the only available answers. I don't think you could though, and I don't think I could either. For the record,
I've seen some kickers. I think I got a shot at some kickers.
Those dudes hold up women while skating in circles. That's incredible core strength.
Wow, you held up a 75-pound woman. Yeah, okay.
Could you?
Or a 50?
Could you?
In my heyday, yes.
Right. I'm not saying in your heyday. I'm saying today. Who could you win in a fight against today?
See, again, you got to take my age into consideration, but yeah, I'll take out a figure skater.
I don't know, man. I don't know if you could.
Oh, you saying you couldn't?
No, I couldn't either.
Oh, come on.
To be clear.
Come on. I don't know why we're having this conversation,
I think
but
I'm pretty much relegated to the realm of like ping pong champions is pretty much the only.
I don't know, because
those guys are quick.
Yeah, they are, and hand-eye coordination.
Yeah.
I mean,
all you need is an opening. They see that jaw one time, that right hand's coming.
All right. Every golfer on the senior tour.
Senior tour golf. I'm glad you clarified. You were going to go golfer, and I was like, Bryson would work both of us over.
No, there's
maybe at the same time.
Yeah, there's a couple. I don't want none. But
like
yeah.
Craig Stadler, maybe.
Yeah, the senior tour. I'm down.
Not Phil though. Phil just needs one kick with those calf bombs, and you're done.
Yeah, well,
you'd have to go Statler, like Jack Nicklaus today, maybe. I don't know. Jack seems like one of those dudes that's got old man strength. You know what I mean?
I would ask: is it Olafable with the ponytail? Who's the European with the ponytail?
Yeah.
I think I would ask him to tag team with me. We'd make a killer tag team.
Item number 1 of the lunch breakdown: the 3 things you have to know before you go start talking sports with your friends, family, coworker, or the dog, whoever you spend your lunch break with. The last 2 undefeated teams in men's college basketball have both fallen for the first time. Number 1, Baylor. Number 5, USC. The final remaining 2 undefeated teams are both done. They are out of the undefeated category. Baylor had a 21-game winning streak, which started last season, took it up against number 19 Texas Tech in Waco, and a 65-62 L was the result there. The University of Southern California was undefeated as well. They were on the road at Stanford, and the more shocking of the 2 upsets, as the Trojans fall to the Cardinal 75-69. The Red Raiders have been struggling with injuries and COVID-19 challenges in recent weeks, but Kevin McCullough, who had missed the past 2 games due to an ankle injury, returned, came off as a bench player, 12 points, 1 of 5 double-digit scores for the Red Raiders. Adonis Arms stepped up, led the squad with 14. On the other hand, for USC, Stanford, 75-69 was held in a nearly empty arena due to COVID-19 protocols. The Cardinal had been paused for nearly 3 weeks, but returned for their first game since December 23rd to beat the top 5 USC squad. Harrison, Ingram, and Spencer Jones each posted 21 for the Cardinals, secured their first top 5 win since all the way back in 2007. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, our shift of attention will start to turn towards college basketball over the next few days. Item number 2 on the lunch breakdown. As I say that, we go right back to college football. For those of you who said that players will undoubtedly be chasing championships with the transfer portal eligible to them, the University of Georgia has announced that 2 players have entered the transfer portal. The University of Alabama have announced that 7 players are entering the transfer portal a day after the college football playoff national championship. That includes reserve tight end Jaleel Billingsley. Billingsley's name was in the news yesterday because former Alabama quarterback Greg McElroy went on public national television and accused him of displaying a lack of effort in his play against Georgia. The reserve tight end, who was expected to potentially be the guy that would step up and be the mismatch nightmare for the Crimson Tide once Jamison Williams went down, had 0 catches in that game on, I believe, 3 targets, if I recall correctly. The group of Alabama players appeared in the portal yesterday afternoon. Billingsley, 35 receptions for 543 and 6 TDs the past 2 seasons, played behind Cameron Latu, who obviously had a big day for the Crimson Tide on Monday after recording a total of 9 catches for a $152 and a TD over Southern Miss and Florida. Billingsley had 7 receptions the rest of the year. Other Alabama transfer portal entrants, linebacker Drew Sanders, 24 tackles, 1 sack, 4 QB hurries, and 2 breakups. Reserve quarterback Paul Tyson. If you're wondering why the name Paul rings a bell here, it is because he is the great-grandson of former Alabama coach Paul Bear Bryant. He entered the transfer portal and will leave Grandpappy's school, as did offensive lineman Tommy Brown, who started 1 game this season.
I'm sure I'm not the only one when you said Tyson who thought chicken. So I was thrown off by the answer there.
Not a chicken magnet. He is the blood of Paul Bryant. Georgia had defensive back Amir Speed, which is a great name for a DB. Amir Speed, who started 3 games, recorded 13 tackles this season, and wide receiver Jalen Johnson, who had 3 catches for 29 yards across 14 games. Item number 3 on the lunch breakdown today. We mentioned it a couple of minutes ago. The Carolina Panthers have announced their first interview for their vacant offensive coordinator position. Yesterday, the story was David Tepper is looking for Matt Rule to make a, quote, rock star hire, end quote, in order to feel comfortable carrying him in as the head coach to the 2022 season. Is this a rock star hire? According to Jeremy Fowler, Carolina has asked to interview current Minnesota Vikings play caller Clint Kubiak. Kubiak, of course, the son of former Denver Broncos and Houston Texans head coach Gary Kubiak. Gary Kubiak led the Broncos to the Super Bowl 50 win over the Carolina Panthers. 2021 was Clint Kubiak's first year at the position of OC, helped Minnesota to 362.8 yards per game, good for 12th in the league, 25 points per game, good for 14th in the league. He previously served under his dad as an offensive assistant in Denver from 2016 to 18 and as the Vikings QB coach in 2019 and 2020. And I am going to say, Zoe, this is not a splash interview. This is not a name.
All right. I disagree with you before you discount this. And I figured you would. And it's easy to do. And I mean, in general, it's easy to discount this. But he made Kirk Cousins look okay. If you can make Kirk Cousins look okay, the biggest scammer in the entire, almost in the history of the NFL, Kirk Cousins, who is not a good quarterback, but still manages to become starting quarterbacks in places, he made Kirk Cousins look okay. And I think if you can make Kirk Cousins look okay, you might be able to make Sam Darnold look great.
What if I just told you that Kirk Cousins is okay?
He's not. I don't believe you because I've seen Kirk Cousins.
Disagree. Kirk Cousins is okay. He's not great, but he's okay. And everything except the biggest primetime games, Kirk Cousins is fine.
Kirk Cousins is the American dream. He's able to take mediocre talent and parlay it somehow into really good contracts in places that he doesn't deserve to be. And good for him. But he made Kirk Cousins look pretty good. So I think maybe not rock star, maybe indie rock star status possibly.
Hey, you listen here, Alonzo. Kirk Cousins is okay, and I'm going to defend him, but don't you dare call him the American dream, brother. He ain't there. There's only one American dream, and you know who it is. It's the son of a plumber. Kirk Cousins is okay. And Kubiak is a guy that has an okay quarterback's offense with some stellar wide receivers, has an okay quarterback and a decent offense, averaging right in the middle of the pack in the National Football League this year. Now, granted, it was his first year on the job in that role, and there are certainly lessons that must be learned by Clint Kubiak in spending time in that role. But if Matt Rule's looking for a rock star hire to keep his job, that's not it. Now, my question to Panthers fans would be, are you good with this?
But who is it? Name me a rock star offensive coordinator right now. How many offensive coordinators can you actually name?
I don't know that there is one that's available. I don't know that there's one that's available. Here's what I know. About the closest I could think, and I don't think this is a rock star hire, but he's got a lot of momentum around the National Football League, would be to promote Bill O'Brien into the OC spot, the guy who just took Alabama to the national championship game. Could he do it back in the NFL? I think O'Brien's a fine offensive coordinator. I just don't think he's cut out to be a head coach. Could you get Brian Flores in that role? I don't think so. I think Flores is going to have opportunities to be a head coach. I think teams are going to line up. And again, if you're Carolina, I don't know that there are any good offensive coordinators coordinating for bad teams that would be willing to move the post. But I am saying that you need to go find a name and you need to make something happen here. That being said, none of it matters if this offensive line doesn't get better.
I absolutely, you're right. The offensive line needs to get better. I've been saying that for years, and hopefully they bring in someone that goes, you know what's wrong with this team? Needs a better offensive line. I'm not sure I believe that he was told. I mean, is this a direct quote from Tepper saying that he told him he needs a rock star hire in order to keep his job?
No, but I've heard that phrase reported, not quoted, but paraphrased from
this
about.
Just sounds like that game when you're a kid and you whisper in someone's ear and it becomes something else by the time it gets all the way around the room back to you. I don't believe that. If someone told you that, would you just go ahead and start looking for another job? Because I mean, what's the point?
No, I would not start looking for another job. I felt like hell for the one that I got, especially for a guy like Matt Rule, who knows that if he gets one more year, it's because in every other job that he's had, he's done the 3-year turnaround, and he has to do the 3-year turnaround here, because I do think Tepper, with 3 years and $33 million left on the contract, will cut the cord on that.
I want to know the source. I want the source to come forward and say, I'm the one who said that Tepper said this to him. Just because it's just.
Well, I think Shefty put that out there. I think Rappaport put that out there.
Never mind.
These are names.
Shefty's doing what he was told to do, so never mind.
Why would that be something Carolina or the NFL told him to do? That's not a report.
Why would you say that to someone? Because it's an impossibility. It's an impossibility to hire a rock star offensive coordinator unless you can get like you were talking about, maybe a Flores and an ex head coach from somewhere. If most offensive coordinators are not known names, so I don't know what is a rock star offensive coordinator.
Somebody that when the fans hear it, they're good with it. I honestly think that's it. I think it's somebody.
Yeah, they had that last year. How'd that work? That's in recent memory. That is a rock star offensive coordinator. Listen,
I think they regret the hell out of that. Firing him, not hiring him. I think they regret firing him. I think they look, but I've told you, I think they needed a sacrificial lamb, and Joe Brady was it. Joe Brady's going to land somewhere else immediately. He'll be coordinating somewhere. If not a college head coach, he'll be coordinating somewhere next year. Here are some of the names that I think are not available to Carolina, but I think the level of name that you were looking for. Josh McDaniels is an offensive coordinator around. Mike LaFleur, who is the brother of Matt LaFleur, the head coach of the Packers, I think is on that list. Matt Canada in Pittsburgh, former LSU offense coordinator, would be a name. Darrell Bevel with Jacksonville, if you could get him out of Jacks, which is a possibility. He's been the interim coach, but I haven't heard his name mentioned as a candidate anywhere else. He might be available. Who else? Kellen Moore is getting interest as a head coach in Dallas. Maybe you get him in there. I don't know if Clint Kubiak, Byron Leftwich. He's not going anywhere. I think he's going to end up being a head coach probably in the next 2 years. Pete Carmichael with the New Orleans Saints has been good, although the Saints were like second to last in passing offense. But I think that has more to do with the fact that the Saints used more starters on offense than any other NFL team this year. They were screwed from the beginning. I'd say that's probably the list of guys I would consider rock star OCs. I don't know who the name is. But again, it's a whole Matt Rule's Doug he's got to get himself out of.
Yeah, probably 2/3 of those guys that you mentioned are already cemented with a team and are in that position already.
Oh, I agree.
And so why would they leave?
I didn't say it was going to be easy.
Yeah, why would they leave? Other than money? I guess money is the thing. That's the only thing that gets those guys out of there, probably.
Here's my question: if you're David Tepper and you got $44 million locked up in Matt Rule for the next 4 years, how much money are you coming off to hire an offensive coordinator, right? Like, how much of a contract are you willing to put out there? And if you're an offensive coordinator and you're coming to work for Matt Rule, a guy that's standing next in line at the guillotine, and the NFL and David Tepper goes, look, we got a lot of money wrapped up in this guy. Are you going to line up knowing that Matt Rule going next year means you are a 1-year, one-and-done offensive coordinator? Probably not. This is not an easy spot to be in.
There's no salary cap when it comes to coaches.
There's not, but even millionaires have a pool of money that they're going to be willing to spend. And Tepper's got $44 million of that locked up in his head coach. How much money is he going to give to the offensive coordinator, to Matt Rule to give to an offensive coordinator when he's already got, 4 dozen wrapped up in the AHC? All right, let's take a break. Texture says, ESPN, as a soccer fan, I could beat up every pro soccer player. Not actually, but if I got in the first punch, they would fake a horrendous injury and the fight would be over. Only if the yellow card comes out. If it doesn't, they'll hop right back
Get
up.
in there and do a whirlwind and just watch people fall all over the place and never actually touch anybody.
You ever see that there's so many videos, I've seen them. I'll see if I can find some and post them on Twitter, where guys have taken a dive, right? In soccer, guys will take a dive. And the guy who didn't touch them will run over and just lift them back up off the ground. And then that guy's ready to fight. How dare you, sir? It's like, weren't you just dead like a second ago? Did you get sniped like 10 seconds ago and now you're ready to fight the guy? Come on, man. ESPN, is snow going to screw up the Swamp Rabbits game Sunday? I hope not. My parents came down from up north. Oh, they're the reason then. It's their fault. I do not know. I'll be talking with Mark Shelley, the voice of the Swamp Rabbits, tomorrow. I will see if the Rabbits have any contingency plans as far as snow goes. I have seen, Lonzo, prognostications of anywhere from 1 inch to up to 20 inches of snow on Sunday. I don't know that I believe either extreme yet, but I assume if there's 20 inches of snow, nothing's happening.
Generally, they don't know either.
Yeah.
It really comes down to when they say models. That means there's like 25 guesses of what could happen. We could get snow, and you know what else? We could not get snow.
Yeah, it'd be 72 and sunny. And final text on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. Hey, Rob, glad to hear Zoe made it back from flossing the cat. I prefer to leave that text with no context. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
Best. That's what he just said on the promo. Okay.
I mean, again, I think with either one of their top 2 receivers, Alabama wins that game. But that's how the game works, unfortunately.
It's not about who's the best team. It's about who's the best team at that moment on that day.
Ooh.
I feel like I'm being haunted by a pair of headphones. Everywhere I go is a creepy ad for headphones I've looked at one time. I hate that feeling like I'm being watched. I downloaded DuckDuckGo and saw a difference right away. Take back your privacy online with DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
We want you to take part. We're here to take over. Named the best sports talk show in South Carolina. The Rob Brown Show. Only on ESPN Upstate.
And we're back. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. Rob Alonzo and you. Texter on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. Says ESPN Alonzo, you've been brainwashed by the ESPN mothership into the Kirk Cousins sucks fallacy. His numbers say otherwise. Middling Pro Bowler, top 15 to 17 NFL QB. Yeah, I'd say Kirk Cousins is middle of the pack. I'd say there's a handful of quarterbacks that are worse than Kirk Cousins.
Let me just say that I haven't been brainwashed because I don't have a brain. So there. Now, I think I just won. Maybe.
Let's see. I'm just curious as to Kirk Cousins' career statistics. What he looks like. Like, where will we put Kirk Cousins? I don't plan on doing a Kirk Cousins show, but I am curious because I don't hear a lot of other quarterbacks.
If we do Kirk Cousins show, and I did say it's all my fault.
Let's see. He's played in 125 games, 120 of them starting. He is Lonzo, 59, 59, and 2. He literally could not be more 50%.
Thank you.
59, 59, and 2. He has completed 2,825 of 4,223 passes for a 67% completion percentage. He has thrown for 32,500 yards in his career, 223 touchdowns to 91 interceptions. That's a 2.2 a 2.2 interception percentage. So he's intercepted 2 out of every 100 efforts.
That's not bad right there.
Not at all. He is a 5.3 career touchdown percentage guy, and hovers anywhere. His rookie year, he was an 8.3. So 8 out of every 100 passes was a touchdown. On his career, 5.3. He averages 7.7 yards per attempt. He gets, 11.5 yards per catch or per reception. He averages 260.7 per game, and his career quarterback rating, Lonzo, is a 98.6. That's not bad. That's not bad. His high years were his rookie year, 101.6. He did it again in 2015 with Washington, and a 107 in 2019 with Minnesota. This year, a 103. Not bad.
Admittedly, my favorite team has one of the best quarterbacks in the league, so it's hard for me to fathom. But I can ask you this question because it's not mean, but yours does not right now. Would you take Kirk Cousins over any of the quarterbacks that New Orleans has right now?
If are we including Jameis Winston?
Yes, we are.
He's a free agent.
We're including Jameis. Yes,
I'd probably take Jameis because Jameis is younger and a little more athletic, which I think opens up the playbook for Sean Payton. And he was 14 touchdowns, 3 picks in the 5 games that he played. He was I think 5-0 undefeated as a starter this year. I think you got to roll with that number. But if you're asking me Taysom Hill or Trevor Siemian or Ann Book, yeah, I take Kirk Cousins all day, twice on Sunday. 100%. The guy's not bad. He's a slightly above middle of the pack quarterback.
Yay, we got him. We're at least going to maybe make a wild card. Maybe not this year.
Texter says just because it's not functional doesn't mean your brain doesn't exist, Lonzo.
Rob will have to explain that to me later. I don't get it.
Big words. All right. So the Panthers expecting to interview Clint Kubiak. We talked about that needing a rock star hire. Anthony Rizzuti of Panthers Wire put together an article that had some quotes, including Jay Glazer. And Jay Glazer is where the rock star hire offensive coordinator phrase came from. Jay Glazer on Sunday afternoon did a little segment, or excuse me, on Monday afternoon, did a little segment talking about the coaching carousel beginning to spin after a number of head coaches. 3 head coaches were fired Monday, 1 more on Tuesday, as the Giants' Joe Judge was added to that list. Jay Glazer said that Matt Rule needs to hire a rock star coordinator and able to stay in that position. There were additional rumblings after a Sunday morning report from Adam Schefter that have already linked other names to be potentially interviewed, although Kubiak's the first one that we know of that is scheduled. Bill O'Brien, former Washington football team head coach Jay Gruden, and current LA Rams offensive coordinator Kevin O'Connell. I think O'Connell would be a rock star hire, right? Like if they could get the LA play caller. And I think that's a move that look at Hoodie sweatshirt, Lonzo. I like it. It's got the Top Gun font with the words Danger Zone written on it. I love it.
Yeah, but if that's not authentic Top Gun wear, he might be sued for copyright infringement. I'm just saying.
That is a dope hoodie.
Unless, of course, it's been endorsed by Kenny Loggins, then I suppose it's probably okay.
Hoodie has upped the hoodie game today, ladies and gentlemen.
It is nice. It looks like it's the first time he's worn it, too.
All right. I like Kevin O'Connell as a potential rock star name. And I like Kevin O'Connell as a potential rock star name because he might be willing to leave LA, right? We all know that the head coach of the LA Rams, Sean McVay, is the offensive mind there. There are 2 coaches, and they are the youngest 2 coaches in the league, where the head coach is the de facto offensive coordinator. Sean McVay is one of them, and Cliff Kingsbury in Arizona is the play caller for the Cardinals. So if you're Kevin O'Connell and you're trying to make a name for yourself as the OC, why wouldn't you take a job where you are the true OC, where Matt Rule's going to give you the headset and go, you call the plays to prove that you can play chess, instead of being effectively the guy in LA where Sean McVay calls the plays and just ask for your input in the process. Unless you are trying to add some hardware to your resume, Kevin O'Connell might be the name I like on this list the most. The Rams have got a very effective offense, although they blew it against the 49ers. Thanks very much, LA. I hate you. Although they blew it against the Niners, there's no doubt that LA has a good offense, right? So if you're Kevin O'Connell and you're sitting there in a position where you are effectively an offensive advisor and not the OC, maybe that's the move you make. I think that's the name that of the names that have been linked to this job so far, Kevin O'Connell is probably the only one that I look at and go, that's a rock star hire. That's the hire that keeps Matt Rule's job for 1 more year, if he can make it.
Well, I can't wait to see who they hire and see if Matt Rule keeps his job, because then I'll know what a rock star is.
We'll see. We'll see. All right, 844-477-3776, 844-GSP-ESPN. Panthers fans, by the way, can I just say, Lonzo, that after 2 years of this job, I think Panthers fans are the quietest group of fans I've ever been around as far as contributing to the show, right? We talk Gamecocks, I get a lot of Gamecocks input. We talk Clemson, I get a lot of Clemson input. Hell, I talk Carolina Hurricanes, and I get a lot of Hurricanes tweets. Most of them are just like, hey, let's go hockey, but I get input. I talk Panthers, I don't get response. To the point that I'm almost like, is it justifiable to talk about the Panthers, or should we just do overall NFL conversation? But I know we live in a place that people from all over the country move to. I know that you can go to different bars in the area, and it's like every bar has the official fan group of the NFL's blank meets at this bar, right? I know the Buffalo Bills bar. I know the Miami Dolphins bar. I know the Pittsburgh Steelers bar. They are everywhere. The one group of fans that I cannot seem to get to contribute to conversation about their team are the Panthers? Is it because they're just bad? Or is it because Panthers fans just don't care?
Or maybe they're just not vocal like other fan bases. It doesn't mean that they're any less. They're just not as loud. It's a possibility.
I've never had even whether it's here or the longest station I've ever been in Fort Walton. And Fort Walton Beach, Pensacola, Destin's very similar to Greenville, and that about half to 60% of the people that live there didn't grow up there, right? They're transplants from around the country. But I get Buffalo Bills text on the text line. I get Pittsburgh Steelers text. I get New York Giants. I've already got a Joe Judge text in on the show today.
See, here's the thing. I think you're judging it like you would judge it if we were in Charlotte, and we're not. Even though it's, two states, one team. And I do think that's a good marketing tool. And I know there are a lot of Panthers fans in the area, but we're not in Charlotte. I'm guessing the reaction in Charlotte would be totally different because that's actually their city.
Lonzo, I don't mean to do this, but I have to. I don't read text that go to the other station.
Well, you do. You mean you don't read them?
I don't read them on the air.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is sarcasm or not, but the text that just came in to the other show says, and I quote, name of show host. I have a subject that needs your savvy investigative skills. On chemtrails, some planes are spraying in the sky. Why and what are these planes leaving in the air? It's a real chemtrails tweet.
By the way, I don't know why you're shocked about it. The reason why I know about chemtrails is because of 22 years on that station, and it has been it's been a.
There's one right there. Chemtrails.
Yeah, there's one right there. It has been a topic for the entire 22 years that I've been on Word, and I'm going to say it's our sister station.
Lonzo, it's happening.
Is it a crisscross pattern?
Not yet.
Okay.
No, they're going in opposite directions, but the lines are almost parallel, almost as if they're trying to get mass coverage of the area with those chemicals. And by chemicals, I mean, of course, hydrogen and oxygen.
Well, if it was a crisscross pattern, kind of what you would consider an X, then we definitely would be getting snow.
Oh, I got you. So parallel lines just means mass coverage, but the X, that's when they're really trying to center on one point.
It's basically it's basically telling the satellites snow here.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That makes sense. What are these planes spraying in the sky, and what are they leaving in the air, and why?
I'm wondering if they can actually get her to talk about it, but she doesn't see those texts. So because
she's better off for it.
No, because she's national, and they're texting into the local text line. So she
this one. Well, maybe it's not the person that's on the air. This is directed to one of our local hosts.
Morning.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You can say her name unless you don't want to.
Tara.
Yeah. Okay. It's directed towards Tara.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tara, I have a subject that needs some savvy investigative skills on chemtrails. Some planes are spraying in the sky. Why? And what are these planes leaving in the air?
Tara is a former investigative reporter, and she can do some things like that. So I'd be interested if she gets brought into this investigation. Don't start a war, Rob.
It's water vapor. And anyone who says anything else to you is either willfully ignorant or lying to you. One or the other.
And you also may or may not be a robot implanted here by the government. We don't know.
Texas says chemtrails are real and birds are not real. You'll learn that one day, you fed. Let's take a break. I'm back after this. Back after this with more on the lizard people. This is the Rob Brown Investigatory Show. Is that a word? That's a word. Yeah. The Rob Brown Investigatory
It is now.
Show on ESPN Upstate. Look up.
I'm looking up, Rob. What am I looking for?
Trey, you and me both, buddy. You and me both. Although I have to tell you, the other text line does provide me quite a bit of entertainment on the reg.
I don't see how it affects anybody else other than the fact that you have to type in ESPN. I mean, it's 4 more letters when you do your text.
It's really only like the first hour of the show when there's a lot of text coming into that other station. In which case, I have to scroll through 50 texts to find 10.
So you're dealing with Vince hate, and then once you get past the Vince hate,
it's pretty smooth. From 1 to 3, it's pretty smooth.
Quarterback Darius Williams shoulder injury. Rams host the Cardinals in Monday's NFC wildcard game, 8:15 Eastern, ESPN TV. The NBA doubleheader begins with Mavericks-Knicks, followed by an Eastern Conference showdown, Nets and Bulls. Coverage kicks off with NBA Countdown at 7 Eastern on ESPN TV.
People need to stop coming at my station, man.
I'm not. I'm coming at its listeners. And not all its listeners. Just the ones that believe chemtrails are a conspiracy.
Well, I believe that you're probably coming at about 90% of the upstate.
You think 90% of the upstate?
Yeah, at least 90%, and the other 10% are lying when they say that they don't believe it.
Keep drinking the Kool-Aid, you hippies. Welcome to the stream, Keegan. Great to have you back, buddy.
No, Keegan. Looks like Rob may have had a recent haircut, so he can't qualify. Although the beard, can you be a beard hippie?
A bearded hippie?
That's just a hipster, though.
Yeah.
Okay. No, a beard hippie.
A hipster is different from a hippie.
Right, because a hippie has long hair, but a hipster has
looks.
A hipster.
Yeah,
well, a hippie is peace and love.
Right, and a hipster is more like, I'm in the stuff that's like advanced cool, and I was into the cool stuff before it was cool.
Yeah, I don't get that, but that's fine because I've never been a hipster, but I'm gonna take your word for it. And I've never been a hippie either because I don't believe in peace and love. It's just violence and anarchy over here. Still believe that, Kool-Aid has gotten a bad rap in this whole political thing because Kool-Aid is delicious. It always has been, especially if it's made correctly.
Kool-Aid's delicious. Now, when you were a kid and you described what kind of Kool-Aid you wanted, did you describe the flavor or the color? Like, I want red Kool-Aid. I want purple Kool-Aid.
Well, as someone from that side of the tracks, we weren't picky. If we got Kool-Aid, it was a step up from water. So, I mean,
What do you remember? There used to be...
By the way, grape Kool-Aid is the best of all time.
Purple Kool-Aid?
Yes.
There used to be like a second-rate Gatorade sports drink that used to come in like plastic, like hand-sized single-serving plastic bottles. And after soccer, the coach would always bring like a full ice cooler full of them because they were like 10 cents a pop. Do you remember what they were called?
No, but I know what you're talking about. They come in little jug-like things. Yeah. And they had like foil.
The foil that you pulled off the top. Do you remember what that was called?
No, they weren't really that good.
No, they weren't. Yeah. They were awful. Does anybody on the stream remember what it was called? There was a sports drink. It came in like a jug-shaped plastic container the size of your hand, and it had a foil lid, like seal on the top that you peeled the foil off of, and that was just a open drinking hole.
Hugs. Steven says Hugs.
No, I don't think that was it.
I think that Hugs is one of those. It may not be the original, but
no. I know what those are. But that's not what I'm talking about. These were like a sports drink.
Because when you were describing it, that's what I thought you were talking about.
But it was very similar to that. Was it 10K? Yeah, 10K. That's what it was called. Conspiracy. I'm looking outside the window right now.
There's another one. You see it? Coming this way.
You may say it's a coincidence. When Lonzo and I mention chemtrails, suddenly the skies of the upstate are full of planes, leaving behind a mysterious vapor in the air. It comes just 2 days after a massive weather shift, including a major snowstorm is announced for the upstate. Whether coincidence or government control, we'll let you decide. There are like
there's three
number of
there's three out there, and if you look from
there's clearly lines.
There's a
yeah.
It's weird that there would be multiples out there, and they seem to be going back and forth.
I've seen this is number 7 since we started the show, and I jokingly started counting. We announced chemtrails, and now all of a sudden the sky is full of them. Ladies and gentlemen, the government controls the weather. All right, and do you know who they let make the decisions about the weather with their chemtrails? Bigfoot.
Oh well, I was going to go with the Dairy Council, but
it's Bigfoot. They keep Bigfoot is real. He's locked in a room, and every day, the reptoids that run the government, the lizard people that run the government, they open the door and they say, "Hey, Bigfoot, what do we want to do to the people today?" And Bigfoot tells them the weather they want, and based on what Bigfoot's answer is, they send out the planes with the chemtrails to control the weather. That's what happens.
So you're giving Bigfoot a bad name because you're trying to act like he's just some, creature with a small brain and a large body when actually he's an interdimensional being.
Yeah, super intelligent.
Yeah, very much so.
Einstein was actually a Bigfoot. That's why the hair was so crazy. He shapeshifted the bottom half of his body, but he couldn't get the hair. That's why the hair is so crazy. Because Einstein was a Bigfoot.
Well, when you reach a certain age, your hair will no longer change when you shift. That's just common knowledge.
Yeah, it's Bigfoot, just Bigfoot biology. We mentioned chemtrails. The skies are full. Bigfoot's real. Birds aren't real. The lizard people run the government. The basics,
Wait a minute. Are birds out there while the chemtrails are going on?
Yeah, because that's how they control them, right? They send the bird drones up in the sky, and the bird drones will send back reports to Bigfoot about what's working and what's not. The bird drones are how they control all this.
You think when they're just on a day like this, when they're actually testing, they're like, you know what? Let's get the citizens in an uproar. You guys go this way. You go this way. It looked like those two were going head to head towards each other at one point.
If I was an air traffic controller listening to this show, I would jeopardize my job, Lonzo, to start directing planes to fly patterns over Greenville, like a grid or like a big X directly centered over downtown. I would risk my job if I heard this show to start directing patterns of contrails over Greenville just to freak people out.
Here
comes another one.
I was going to say, I'm curious if this is going to continue throughout the show.
It's almost like when the weather starts to drop and there are weather variables in the sky, that the reaction of the disturbed vapor and engine runoff, exhaust, it's almost like it acts up more.
All right.
It makes them more prevalent.
If you were watching on the stream on ESPN Upstate, Facebook, and Twitter and YouTube, you would see that little click that went off in Rob's brain when he was supposed to say the things that the government wants him to say. There's a tick. His left eye just kind of ticked just a little bit.
Away from the camera.
Yeah, I know. I caught it though. I could actually hear it over here. It's kind of weird. So every once in a while, if you hear it clicking, you may think you know what it is, but it's actually that thing in Rob's head. Yeah.
Longing, rusted, 17, daybreak, furnace, 9, benign, homecoming, 1, freight car. Contrails aren't real. Birds aren't real. So dumb. I want all of you to know that sending conspiracy theory text to the Preferred Home Services text line makes me very happy. I can't read any of them on the air.
I was going to say, if you're Baron Zemo, don't be sending those messages to Rob, because I'd like to, make it out of here alive.
Texter says, can we just spend an entire day discussing conspiracy theories? No, but I might do a Facebook stream about them later. I genuinely might.
Yeah, we already did that about UFOs, which was fairly interesting. And some of us took it serious and some of us didn't. So, there's that.
All right. Let's see here. Texter says Panthers 25 plus years and don't deserve to be talked about. Brother. Can't talk about it if we've never been about it. You've been to a Super Bowl, man.
2 of them, I think.
You've played for it all. You are about that life. You just need to fix it. Back after this to wrap up hour number 2, and I promise we'll talk sports. They're just water vapor. It's just water vapor and exhaust. That's all. Back after this. Harley Davidson of Greenville wants you to be about that Harley Davidson life. And I'm not just talking about driving a Harley Davidson, although you should because they're awesome. And riding a motorcycle is one of the best decisions you're ever going to make. But I mean, getting into the entire lifestyle, because it's not just about looking the part, although you can, right? You get that new bike, you get it designed exactly the way you want it, all the bells and whistles and gadgets and gizmos that you want on it. You get the bike of your dreams, and then you go to Harley Davidson and they can outfit you top to bottom, from helmet down to toe boots. They have got you covered in the gear that's going to make you look and feel as cool and safe as you want to be. But once you do, there's so much more to it. You are going to get into the HD lifestyle because they organize rides around the clock. They will tell you where to ride, how to ride safely, what you need to see, etc. Harley doesn't want to just sell you a bike. They want you to get into the lifestyle, because once you do, you will understand that once you're a Harley Davidson of Greenville customer, you will be one for life. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to find out more, go to their beautiful showroom at 30 Chrome Drive, or check them out online at upstateharley.com. Upstateharley.com. It's Harley Davidson of Greenville.
It's Ground Zero, Trey, and it's a wonderful program.
Is that the Crazy People show?
Well, there's a couple of them, and you know,
what's the one I'm thinking of?
you're thinking Coast to Coast.
Coast to Coast. That's it. Yeah.
Ground Zero is kind of like Coast to Coast, except it's even more on the supernatural side.
Okay.
And it's a very good lead in from Ground Zero to Coast to Coast.
Coast to Coast warm up.
Well, it's
Are they being serious?
Yes.
Like they're like,
Yes.
we believe this stuff
Yeah.
and it's real.
There have been times that I've listened to Ground Zero on my way home and just changed it, because it's just like, okay, this is just. It's usually the creepy things they're talking about as I'm driving through the woods that I just look around and like, okay, I think I did see a light that they were just talking about. Yeah, let me turn on music.
So, I got a friend from Cherry Hill, New Jersey, which is just a couple of minutes away from the Pine Barrens, which is where the Jersey Devil lives.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were in college, he swore to me up and down, left and right, that he had seen the Jersey Devil and that it was real, right? Like, and when he talked about it, he was genuinely freaked out about it. And I was like, dude, what are the chances you just saw like a bobcat in the tree, right? Like a really big cat. And he's like, no, dude, it had wings and it had teeth and it was big. And I'm like, all right. So he bet me. I don't remember what we bet on it, but he bet me that I wouldn't camp in the Pine Barrens for a night. And I was like, dude, easiest bet ever. Easiest bet ever. Like, it's no different than camping in any other woods.
Yeah,
like,
but you're a nut, so it wouldn't bother you as much.
Right.
As far as you weren't raised there, so there's no mystique to it.
There's a place in there's a place in New Orleans called the Myrtles Plantation, which is supposedly the most haunted place in America, the Myrtles Plantation.
A lot of voodoo rituals there and things like that.
No, it was they used to have slaves there, and a lot of them were killed very egregiously and violently. And a lot of them are still supposed to haunt, and they're what do you call them? Bad ghosts, like mean ghosts,
poltergeist type things, maybe.
And people pay a lot of money to go sleep there to try to see these ghosts. And there's all these ghost stories. And I've got people in my family that are like, "You wouldn't stay there. You wouldn't stay there."
I'm sorry.
I absolutely would. If anybody wants to pay for me to stay a night at the Myrtles Plantation, I'll happily do it. A free vacation to not be afraid of ghosts. Yeah, I'm in.
Read the next.
What a comment.
Yes, you got. Hey, they're over here now.
I'm telling you, they're
they're over here now. They're a little farther over here.
The most recent two are going directly over the studio.
Yes.
Directly over the studio. Josh said I was literally sitting at a red light when that last segment started and instantly started questioning my own existence. Words aren't real.
Yeah.
Are you?
I hope you had your windows up, Josh, because, they're seeding it hard right now.
All right, yesterday on the show, I told you that the NFL is, I think, doing the best job of keeping its current viewers around. I think basketball is doing the best job of cultivating the next generation of viewers. Golf, and hang with me here because we're not going to talk about golf, but golf and Netflix have just announced something that follows a formula that has already worked once before, that I think is a plan that a lot of other sports are going to follow because it will work. I'll tell you what that plan is and why when we come back. It's interesting, I promise. I'm Rob, he's Lonzo. It's the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
AutomotiveMap.com presents your ESPN Upstate Sports Center updates powered by The Score. Carolina Panthers making some coaching changes while Matt Rule does appear to be safe going into another year as the head coach. Offensive line coach Pat Meyer, defensive line coach Frank Oakham, and special teams coordinator Chase Blackburn have all reportedly been fired. Also speaking of the Panthers, they will reportedly interview Vikings offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak to their same position. Kubiak does remain the coordinator for the time being in Minnesota. However, recently they fired their head coach Mike Zimmer and general manager.
Thank you, Josh.
A text has just come in with the keyword WORD out front. And it says, I am concerned for the host and producer of ESPN Upstate's Rob Brown Show, as I believe the chemtrails are affecting their decision-making. I mean, why else would you dress like a Teletubby regularly?
The only bad part about our new rules is I haven't got to hear the Wiggle promo yet. I want to hear the Wiggle promo, but I can't play it because, I want to go against the rules.
ESPN Upstate. Radio.com is now Odyssey. Download the Odyssey app and listen to ESPN Upstate and all. For ESPN Upstate. Odyssey is your new home for all the audio that matters to you. Download the Odyssey app today for all the sports you love. And listen to ESPN Upstate. Morning. Check this out. For an official Rob Brown lockdown. Unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show. Yeah, only.
And away we go, ladies and gentlemen. Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show starts now. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. Hello, world. It is great to be with you. I am Rob Brown. The great one, Lonzo, is at the helm. Glad to have you along for the ride. So, earlier in the year, we talked as the F1 season came to its conclusion, and we saw Max Verstappen versus Lewis Hamilton in an absolute showdown. There was some controversy. I mean, it was a great sports outcome. You had one race to determine it all. Number 1, number 2, guy who finishes higher wins the championship. We had controversy in the race about whether or not the caution car should have pulled off and they're allowed to be one more lap of racing, or if it should have been called earlier. Lewis Hamilton said one thing, Max said the other. It was very, very, very interesting. And the only reason that a lot of people know about it is because Netflix has put up a docuseries on F1 racing, which if you have not watched it yet, it's very, very good. It's called Formula One Drive to Survive. And it's a really, really interesting look at Formula One because, you know, I've seen a lot of shows in the past that are kind of set up this way where they give you a lot of look at the behind the scenes stuff, but not much about the actual competition. And I've seen a lot of shows that give you a look at a lot of the competition, like here's game day or race day or match day at the arena, but not much as to what goes into the regular day-to-day life of everything else. F1 Drive to Survive does a really, really good job, I thought, of giving a behind-the-scenes look at what happens around the track, but also how intense race day is for these guys. And it's a genuinely good show. And in the last two seasons, teams gave access to Netflix to cover them. Mercedes and Ferrari and I think the Red Bull team not just gave permission for them to cover live, but I mean to get really deep into stuff, up to and including drivers getting fired and the competition to fill that seat, etc. Phenomenally interesting. Phenomenally interesting. And I've got friends of mine. In fact, my mentor in radio, my old coach, co-host, and guy who really kind of taught me this business, a guy named Adam back in Navarre, Florida, who was not a racing guy, watched F1 Drive to Survive with his kid, with his son. And now my dude's posting about F1 racing like he's into it big time, right? And I know that he's not the only one. I know he's not the only one. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter who have never been racing fans who watch this show, and now they're really interested. One of the things that gets people interested in a sport is exposure to the sport. I've told you before, I think it is the most important factor, right? Why do you think that the NFL does Hard Knocks? Why do you think that the NFL and the NBA and all these big organizations start their own television networks? They do it because the number one way to create a new fan is to give them exposure. That is not just the game, right? Like the NFL puts out, I don't know, 80 hours of game per week during the season. But it's not just about getting you to watch the game. It's about showing you more than just the game. F1 did it with Netflix. It was phenomenal. The NFL did it with Hard Knocks. I know some people that didn't just start like football, but when they saw situations like they watch rookies getting fired, getting their pink slip, being asked to turn in their playbook, they get invested in the individual athletes, which makes them invested in the game as a whole. It's a brilliant plan. And in just about every place that it's worked, it's very clearly worked.
It pulls in people who love documentaries and that type of thing.
Yeah, if you want to like a sport at more than just the surface level, this is how it's done, right? If you want to like a sport at a deeper level than they played this weekend and here was the score, these types of this type of exposure works. Here's a text right here. Texter says, ESPN, my roommate is super into it now. I'll wake up at 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning. He's already 6 beers deep frying bacon watching F1. Of course, I'm obligated to start drinking then as well. Yeah. It's on a weird schedule.
You're also obligated to eat the bacon if they allow you to.
Correct. But yeah, I know multiple people who watched F1 Drive to Survive, and now they're F1 fans, and not like casual fans, like they're fans of this sport. It's a system that works. Golf is now about to get into this, and I like this plan. Golf is probably the sport, I would have to guess, of the major sports, which I consider it one. Golf is probably the sport that has the most difficult time getting new viewers, right? Like, unless you grow up a 1%er like me, I've just decided I'm going to embrace my inner MJF. Unless you were just a 1%er like me growing up, who lived on a golf course and played all the time, most people don't just take up golf. And if you do, it's a hard damn sport to learn. So the majority of people who take up golf find out the sport's hard and I suck at it, so I'm not interested anymore. We as people, very rarely, especially at older ages, tend to stick with something that we're not good at off the bat, right? So golf's probably got the hardest time to grow the sport. So they are leaning into what F1 is doing here. For the first time ever, the PGA Tour and the governing bodies that conduct men's major championships, Augusta National, the PGA of America, the USGA, and the Royal and Ancient Golf Society, or Association, whatever they call. Society's better. Will provide entry into the sport's biggest events, including the Players' Championship and season-ending FedEx Cup, as well as the four majors, the Masters, the PGA Championship, the US Open, and the Open. They are going to give Netflix unprecedented access inside the ropes and behind the scenes. They are doing a series that is going to allow cameras into the locker room, into the backstage, to do interviews with players, etc., to, quote, capture the intensity of training, travel, victory, and defeat through the lens of a diverse group of players and their support teams, which is great. But you need names, right?
Intense training for golf.
Oh, hell yeah.
Look, the golfer and the caddy are having an intense training session discussing which club to use.
I mean, here's the deal.
I would say I hate being that guy, but let's face it, I am that guy when it comes to certain things. I get the NASCAR thing, the behind the thing, or the Formula One racing thing. That would be interesting because there are so many moving parts and all that kind of thing. But how much could there actually be with golf? I mean,
lots.
Yeah,
Say this.
I find it hard to believe, and I hate being a skeptic.
When you swing a golf club, right? And I'm going to come back to what I'm saying and set the show. When you swing a golf club, every single joint on your body impacts your swing. Your fingers, your wrist, your elbow, your shoulder, every joint in your spine, your hips, both knees, both ankles, your toes, your neck, your head, every joint in your body impacts the swing. I did a drill the other day, as a matter of fact. I was taught a new drill. One of the problems that I have when I swing a golf club is that my wrist opens up too much on the and that causes a slice off to the right. I slice the ball a lot. So a guy gave me a drill the other day, which I found was interesting, to train my wrist to stay closed through contact, which is to take your cell phone and hold it in your fingers, right? I know I'm boring Lonzo, but I'm
no. Oh, that's why.
Curl your fingers up like the monkey paw, and you hold your cell phone to where the top and the back of the cell phone is against your forearm, and then you swing the golf club. And what's happened is in the past, as I came through, Lonzo, and my wrist opened up, see, the phone doesn't touch my forearm anymore. The best golf swing keeps that wrist closed, so the phone will never leave contact with the forearm all the way through the swing. This is the smallest little thing, right? But the difference from here to here on the PGA Tour could mean millions and millions of dollars. It could mean keeping your card. It could mean being eligible to be on the tour next season. It could mean a guy's job. This to this could cost the guy's job. That's intense to me, right? The fact that if one joint on your body moves wrong at one particular time, you could drop 10 spots on the leaderboard and lose your job.
By the things that you've just said, you use every bone and muscle in your body to play croquet too. But, I just don't want to see a behind the scenes thing.
And that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. Show me a course where there are some of the best athletes in the world playing for tens of millions of dollars and their livelihood, playing this sport. But again, I also, as I pointed out, I also acknowledge that I grew up playing golf. I grew up on a golf course. I grew up around golf. My dad played, my grandpa played, all my friends play. I acknowledge that I have a passion for the sport that a lot of people don't because they didn't play it growing up.
But see, I'm the guy that they need to try to get to watch this.
And I agree.
Because I am the uber skeptic when it comes to this, thinking that, okay, how interesting could this be if I'm not really interested? And I played golf before. I'm just not into it the way you guys are. And maybe it's just because I haven't played it enough. But still, I find it. I mean, how hard can it be? And how? And
Can we find out?
I'm not talking about the golf playing. I'm talking about all the science that you're saying that goes into it. Aren't there just natural athletes that just go out and do it and they don't need to worry about all that kind of stuff?
Not golf. I have there are natural
athletes. So you're saying the fat guys out there who are golfing, who there are many, they're doing all the science stuff too, or are they just eating a cheeseburger and go out and hit the course?
You don't just be good at golf, right? Like there are runners who are just fast runners, but even the fastest runners in the world have to get down to launch angle, velocity angle, force vector coming out of the blocks, etc., if they want to compete at an Olympic level, right? Would you watch a show, for instance, about who's the greatest sprinter of all time? Usain Bolt? Jesse Owens? Would you watch a show?
It's an era thing. It depends on what you consider.
On the era, but let's say Usain Bolt for the sake of an easy conversation. Would you watch a show about Usain Bolt going from really fast Jamaican guy to a guy who got down to the nitty gritty to study the science behind sprinting to become the world's greatest sprinter?
I don't want to derail the segment or anything. I don't understand how that could keep my interest, showing me how Usain Bolt trimmed
that's one thing, because it's not just about what goes into being a good golfer. But it's the human side of all of this too, right? Like it's the people behind it. One of the best couple of scenes from the F1 series came in season 2. I've been kind of like dabbling in it. Comes in season 2, where there is a guy who gets fired from the Red Bull racing team, and there's 2 or 3 guys that are trying to compete to get into that seat in that race car, to make it their race car so they can go win races. And all of them are doing the best they can to study and learn the tracks they're racing on to become the best racers they can. But the interesting side of it comes from the human side of the story of 3 guys who are looking at it and going, if I don't get this right, I'm probably done with this career and I got to go back to running a desk, right? There's a lot of interest in the human side of it. So let me finish up the description of the show and see if there's a chance I can get you into it. As of right now, these are the names of the golfers who are signed up to participate in this show for Netflix. Abraham Answer, Daniel Berger, Cameron Champ, Joel Diamond, Tony Finau, Matthew Fitzpatrick, Tommy Fleetwood. That's your dude, Zoe. That's your guy.
That is my guy.
Ricky Fowler, Sojier Garcia, Harry Higgs, Max Homa, Victor Hovland, Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, Colin Morikawa, Kevin Na, Mito Pereira, Ian Poulter, Xander Schauffele, Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas, Bubba Watson, and the world's #1 ranked amateur golfer, Kajita Nakajima, out of Japan, who will participate as he plays in the first major championship of his career. That is a wide demographic, of golfers, right? You got foreign guys, you got Americans, you got young guys, you got old guys. You got guys with good hair like Lonzo. You got guys with no hair at all. You got country boys like Bubba Watson out of Baghdad, Florida. You got European Romeos that are known for being good-looking fellas with the ladies. But you got every kind of guy to follow along with here. And you got Kita Nakajima, who is trying to knock down the door and take it to the professional level to make money. PGA has just copied what F1 did, which copied what Hard Knocks was and is, and it's absolutely great. This is what sports needs to be. We all love football. We all love watching football. But man, do you not get interested when you get to learn more about the players and like what goes into the day-to-day life of being a great player? I do. The Last Dance last year during the Rona became one of the most talked about sports entertainment phenomenons of all time.
See, here's the thing. If it's something you care about sports-wise, and you talk about The Last Dance, I started watching the NBA when Michael Jordan started winning championships. That's when I got into the NBA. So I cared about that. Hard Knocks, love football, so I'm going to do that. How do they capture someone like myself, someone who's not really into the sport that they're trying to show, to get them to watch it? I mean, does it have to be a really creative trailer? I mean, how do you do that? Or is this just for the fans of the sport?
I don't think it is, right? I don't think F1 Drive to Survive was for F1 fans. If there is one thing that people love, Lonzo, it's drama, right? Everybody in the world says, I hate drama. I hate drama. Except for the most successful everything of all time: movie, music, TV, sports. The best is all about the drama, right? I hate drama. Really? Did you hate the drama of the national championship game on Monday? Oh, it's just competition. Right. Competition is bred through drama. We love drama, and we love drama whether it's on a personal. What's the old three tropes? There's three dramas, right? There's man versus man versus nature, and man versus environment, and man versus self, right? Those are the three kinds of drama. With these shows, I think you're getting a little bit of everything.
I try to pattern myself after the great American philosopher Booker T, who said, save the drama for your mama.
Right. I get it. 5-time. I respect it. Except for none of us do that. We love drama. Lonzo, you like your anime, don't you? What would anime be without drama?
Lonzo, you're a nerd, right?
Well, so am I. If there's one person that should not be offended by saying that, it's me.
It's all about your tone. You're trying to be dramatic right now. We do.
We all like our drama. You can say you don't, but you're a liar. We all like our drama, and whatever you like it because of the drama. Man versus man versus environment, man versus self. With these shows, you get all three. You get the competition of the sport itself, man versus man. You get the guys trying to make it in a world that is cutthroat as hell.
I think maybe part of my problem with it is, whether it's true or not, golf has always been a rich man sport, at least perception wise. And to me, it's like, why do I want to watch, a bunch of preppies talking about what ball to use, what?
But I don't think that's what they're going to focus on, right? Like, that would be like if the F1 show did a whole episode on what tires should we use. Yeah, that's not going to do anything for you. So they didn't do that, right? I don't think you're going to get a whole segment of Ann Poulter going, Pro V1 or Max Flight 3, I don't really know. I think you're going to get more along the lines of Ann Poulter standing on 3 and describing whether or not he's going to try to fly that lake or lay up short, knowing that flying it and setting himself up for a birdie might win him $2 million, but coming up short on it might cost him missing the cut. I think it might be teams trying to figure out how do we, especially if they start branching this off into the Ryder Cup and the President's Cup. And if we're going to get to go behind the scenes at the Masters, that's one of the best sporting events on the American calendar.
Yeah, I seriously doubt they'll do that. There's some things there that we'll never see. If there is golfer on caddy hate, and
I bet you there will be
almost nearly, knock down, drag out fight between the two, that might get me because, violence.
Man, if they ain't fighting, I ain't watching.
What do I know? I'm an anime fan.
Texter says, now, didn't I tell you I smelled the country club and the silver from that blanking spoon he was born with up his butt? I told you the mantis gifted me with clairaudience. You mean clairvoyance?
Yeah, autocorrect. I mean, it was going so good too.
Didn't I tell you I smelled the country club and the silver from that blanking spoon he was born with? Yes, I played golf as a kid. Unbelievable. Texter says, Rob, don't forget the fourth drama, man versus food.
I wanted to do that, but I just waited.
And they're bringing that show back, Man versus Food. They got a new host.
Yeah,
I saw a trailer of it.
That dude, the dude they did have, rarely won. So I mean, you want to? Have you ever
won the battle, lost at life because his arteries were going.
Have you ever ate at a place that had something like that?
Yeah.
Did you try it?
My number's on a couple of walls. My face is on a couple of walls.
Really? So you actually did it?
Yeah, this was back. So there was a wing joint back in Fort Walton. Buffalo Reef was what it was called, and they had a 50 wing challenge. 50 wing. The last 5 wings were the nuclear hot, right? So the first 45 you could have whatever flavor you wanted. The last 5 were nuclear hot, and you had to strip them to the bone to win. And I won that challenge 3 times. Miserable. But I was also like 21 and in shape and burning 8,000 calories a day.
How much did you have to pay to?
Finished it.
50 wings?
If you didn't finish it, it was like $60. If you did finish it, it was like 20. But you got a T-shirt and your face on the wall. I finished it, I think, 3 times.
Beardless.
Oh yeah, 21. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's because I used to have what they call a jawline. Now it's just like a bit. Quick break. Back after this. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. This is ESPN Upstate.
Presents your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update powered by The Score. Carolina Panthers making some coaching changes while Matt Rule does appear to be safe going into another year as the head coach. Offensive line coach Pat Meyer, defensive line coach Frank Oakham, and special teams coordinator Chase Blackburn have all reportedly been fired. Also, speaking of the Panthers, they will reportedly interview Vikings offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak for their same position. Kubiak does remain the coordinator for the time being in Minnesota. However, recently they fired their head coach Mike Zimmer and general manager Rick Spielman, and it would appear that in all likelihood, the coaches in Minnesota will be looking for a new job. So Kubiak is able to interview with the Panthers. Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
ESPN Upstate is your home for Furman Paladins men's basketball. Playing every day on ESPN Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg. On your computer, smart speaker, and phone on the Odyssey app.
I'm Chelsea Messenger, helping you beat the books with BetQL. It's the top 25 showdown in the Big East tonight. Villanova at Xavier. These two teams met 3 weeks ago, where Xavier had an 8-point lead at halftime, then fell apart in the second half. They had as many turnovers as made field goals and went on to lose by double digits. But tonight, it's in the Queen City, where the Musketeers are a perfect 9-0 and 7-2 against the numbers.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you 24/7, with supplies and solutions for every industry, and access to product specialists ready to help. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Introducing Venture X, Capital One's new travel card for people always asking,
Where next?
you earn 10x miles on hotels and rental cars, and 5x miles on flights booked through Capital One Travel, and 2x miles on everything else you buy with Venture X. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges. The Venture X card from Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Who brought the sauce?
I brought the sauce.
Who made the sauce?
So
I made the sauce.
What's in the sauce?
because she's watching, she's a little bit behind, but I'll explain it now because she'll catch up. The mom's watching. And she says, you know, when you talk about yourself being a 1%er and all that, you come off as an outsider and people don't like you. And I'm like, the best bad guys in wrestling, it's exactly their character. Ric Flair, MJF, these are the best bad guys in wrestling. And that's the thing. And it's just fun for me. Plus, Whenever you've streamed from my apartment, you can pretty much tell I'm not a 1%er. Flea market paintings hanging on my wall.
Oh, no. I think those paintings are originals.
I did them in my spare time, and I refer to myself as an artiste.
Golfers, the best upstate deal on golf is back and on sale now. The 2022 Upstate Golf Card gets you a round of golf at 10 premier upstate courses.
Watched Cena on McAfee yesterday. It was excellent. It was really good.
Watch what?
John Cena on McAfee.
Oh, nice. I got to watch it. He was in costume the whole time?
Yes.
Helmet on?
He wasn't in character, but he was in costume. And he says why. And he genuinely looked like he had a good time and said, I'd like to come back. That's what he said without being asked. He's like, man, I want to come back here. No, he wants to come back on that show.
Oh, gotcha. Hey, Miss Lisa, welcome. Good to have you.
He also talked about how he talked McMahon out of turning him into a heel. And how if he went heel, he could never go back and stuff. It was interesting. Hey, look, more. They haven't stopped. That once clear blue sky, Rob. Remember how clear the sky was when we started?
Now there's clouds.
It's no longer clear.
Here comes three more directly
Wow.
at us. Almost like it's a common flight pattern near an airport. Shocking. I don't mean to be an alarmist here, Lonzo, but three more planes leaving contrails coming directly at the studio in a very tight formation.
If you look in the distance, you'll see one coming across.
Yeah. There's your X.
Yeah.
There's your X right there.
So,
and that's toward downtown, isn't it?
When we started this program an hour and a half ago, the skies were completely clear.
Now covered in clouds.
If that's what you want to call them.
Wispy white chemicals.
Or it's just chemicals. Yeah,
gently
absolutely.
falling to the ground. We'll need the Supreme Investigatory Team to get right on.
It's all right. Rob said they're just water vapor.
And exhaust fumes.
Uh-huh. They don't make the sky go from blue to that. But, you know.
And clouds aren't real either.
There were no clouds in the sky.
Definitely don't appear or disappear based on variances in temperature.
When it snows this weekend, you'll know chemtrails. You got to say it right. I mean, come on. Remember where you are.
Sorry, chemtrails.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's definitely. Anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say, you do need to speak at some point.
I'm sorry. I was trying to breathe.
We don't want him to go off.
South Carolina back in the transfer portal have added a pair of players to the list, the growing list of incoming transfer portal players that they already have. Central Michigan safety Devontae Reed posted on his Twitter account he'll play his final season of eligibility at USC after spending 5 years at his former school. He redshirted his 2017 freshman season. He is using his sixth year after the COVID year to play at SC. He tweeted out, "Let's rock" on social media alongside a graphic of him in a Gamecocks uniform with the word committed at the bottom. Later in the afternoon, James Madison wide receiver Antoine Wells, also posted that he was joining the Gamecocks via social media. It is the second and third transfer commitments in the past 3 days for the Gamecocks. North Carolina State defensive end Terrell Dawkins announced on Saturday he would join the Gamecocks as well. Started multiple games for the Wolfpack after an injury-hampered 3 years and has 3 seasons of eligibility remaining. That is now 5 transfers for the 2022 class after signing Oklahoma players Spencer Rattler and Austin Stogner to the roster earlier in the, or I should say later, back in December. Reed entered the transfer portal on January 3rd. He chose USC over other offers that included Wisconsin, Mississippi State, Texas, Mizzou, and Louisville. Guy has started all 43 games across 4 seasons for the Chippewas, but didn't miss a couple of games last year due to COVID-19 concerns. 281 tackles, 7.5 for a loss, 1 sack, 3 picks, 11 passes defended, and a pair of fumble recoveries. This season, named second-team All-MAC Conference after totaling 72 tackles, including 3.5 for a loss and a sack, 6 defended passes, 2 picks, 1 for a pick 6, and returned a fumble for a touchdown. In his first college game against Kentucky, also had 14 tackles and 11 solo, both career highs. Went on to record a career best 96 tackles his freshman year. Reed is a 6'5", 195-pounder, a 3-star prospect coming out of Bellevue High. Could fit nicely in the void left by USC leading tackler and first-team All-SEC safety Jalen Foster after the former Burns star played his final season of eligibility. RJ Roderick, the other veteran starting safety, announced that he would return for his final season. Wells, a 6'1", 208-pounder, entered the portal earlier this month and was quick to pick up offers from Auburn, Miami, North Carolina, Mississippi State, Va-Tech, and Louisville. Had a scheduled visit to UNC, but said on Twitter that he was canceling that trip and told Tar Heels 24/7 that he had planned to visit Auburn and Miami as well prior to announcing his commitment to South Carolina. I love this for the Gamecocks, Alonzo. I love this because they are not just getting decent players out of the portal, right? And again, we'll see what these guys do at an SEC level. It's one thing to be first or second team All Mountain American Conference. Can that translate to success in the SEC? We'll find out. But what I love about this is these are guys going in the portal and they're getting offers from Auburn, from Mississippi State, from North Carolina. I mean, from schools, maybe not the Alabamas and Georgias of the world, but these are guys that have a year or two left of eligibility. They're getting offers from big schools like Auburn and Miami. And Shane Beamer's talking them into little old South Carolina, talking them to come play in the SEC East for a team that has been working on finding its way. This, to me, I'm not saying that these guys are going to come in and be what elevates South Carolina to, from middle to upper middle tier in the Southeastern Conference. But what I am saying is if Beamer can tell these guys, we want you here, and they drop visits to Auburn and Miami and North Carolina and commit straight away to South Carolina, it shows me that these guys are hearing what Beamer says, liking what Beamer says, and believing what Beamer says. These are not nobodies. These are not guys who are getting offers to Washington State. These guys are getting offers from top-tier schools, and turning them down to come to Columbia shows me that whatever Shane is doing in the recruiting prospects in the transfer portal, if he can do that same thing to the 4 stars coming out of high school and get them to start considering South Carolina alongside Auburn and Miami, that's a big, big step forward for South Carolina. I believe it.
It's pretty exciting, and I was thinking the same thing when you were talking about, he did that in the MAC. Can he do it in the SEC? But then you talked about the tackles that he had against Kentucky. Now you may say Kentucky is not, but Kentucky is getting better and better, and they are an SEC team with SEC size. So he knows that he can handle that level when he comes into play. And the other players, it's really, I am curious about something though. As the transfer portal continues to grow, will there be, and is there already a designated portal coach, a coach that all they do is watch the portal to see for available players?
Oh, I guarantee you every head coach has designated somebody in the office. That's what they do, right? Like there are things you and I do. Like we have designated things that we do when we show up in the morning, right? You do this, you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. That's how we handle this. I guarantee you every head coach has somebody in the building whose job is to check the portal when they get to work in the morning, around lunchtime, right before they sign off, and scan it real quick before you go to bed, just to see what names and stats pop up.
And how quick of a decision do you have to make, and how quick do you have to jump on that when you see someone jump in the portal? How long do they stay there? I mean, before they're actually contacted by any number of coaches.
I mean, it's recruiting, right? Like I think what a lot of people think is These guys go in the portal and then they just pick a school. I'm going to go in the portal. I think I'm going to go to
Are
Miami.
you allowed to have contact with
Yes.
a portal player right away when they go into the
Once
portal?
they're in the portal, you can talk to them. Unless you're in a recruiting dead period. I believe the rules are almost identical, if not identical, to the recruiting rules. There are dead periods and whatnot. But you recruit players out of the portal just like you recruit kids out of high school. So, yeah, I mean, if this guy goes in the portal and we're in an active recruiting period, you can place that phone call immediately. And recruiting out of the portal, again, we've heard people like Tebow who have not that Tebow's against it. He's worked the portal. They picked up an offensive tackle we told you about last week through the portal, right? But he's very much said, we're going to use it strategically. We're going to use it to fill needs, not just grab guys because they're in there. And I understand that, and I'm good with that. But it's about filling needs. And the difference right now between South Carolina and Clemson is obviously South Carolina has a lot more needs. They don't have the depth that the Tigers do right now. So it makes sense that Shane Beamer is going to work the portal as hard as he can. And he is. 3 transfers in 3 days, and all 3 of them were big contributors on the teams they are coming over from. That's what needs to happen. But it's not just about kids in the portal, we need that spot, get them. It's about saying the things that make a pick. These guys have scholarship offers to big-time schools, just like kids coming out of high school, right? We mentioned a few there, Auburn, Mississippi State, Miami. And again, these aren't Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, and Georgia. But they're 1, maybe 2 rungs down the ladder. They're all in that same level of competition that South Carolina is either in or trying to get to. And South Carolina's pulling them out left and right. That's fantastic. That's what it shows me. And again, we need more time to make sure that it plays out the way we think it will. But what it shows me here is that Shane Beamer is making the connection with these kids. And I've told you, if you want to succeed in recruiting moving forward, whether it's kids coming out of high school or kids in the transfer portal, I think from this point forward, there are 2 things you have to do. Number 1, you have to show them that the school can provide for them resources to make their lives better. It used to be that they were looked at as resources for the school. It now has to be the school is a resource for you. And number 2 is you've got to build relationships with these kids that is more than just, I'm the coach, you're the player. It's more than just, I'm going to teach you the X's and O's and you're going to go out there and do it. These kids have to like you. They view themselves as the resource. Why am I going to give my resource to you? It's a national game now, and you have to play it this way. Speaking of that, when we come back here in just a minute from right now, I have got some sound of Nick Saban minutes after losing the national championship game Monday doing exactly that. And you're going to hear what I'm talking about next on the Rob Brown Show at ESPN Upstate. We come back. I accidentally here. I'm just going to read it. There's a clip in the folder called Saban Shows How It's Done, and that's what we're going to play next.
All right, look at the sky.
Oh, they're everywhere.
No,
there's a grid for
do you see it? Yeah. I was wondering if you saw it.
How about that? Back over there's lost. He's going away from us. He's clearly
He's
been
running on
directed
pattern
elsewhere.
further south.
I got you.
You said it's in the show audio folder?
Yeah.
Because I looked earlier, I didn't see anything. So
Because I labeled it 14 on accident.
Cornerback Darius Williams with a shoulder injury. Rams host the Cardinals in Monday's NFC wildcard game, 8:15 Eastern, ESPN TV. NBA Nets guard James Harden expected to return from a hyperextended knee tonight against the Bulls, 10 Eastern on ESPN TV.
From the Ingles Market Studio, this is ESPN Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, ESPN Upstate.
An Odyssey station.
Sometimes it's the little victories that mean the most. At Ingalls, we know there's no one you'd rather share.
Their work may be done. I don't see them anymore.
I mean, I feel like they've covered the area pretty good. All this white stuff in the sky is clearly just chemicals slowly falling into the ground.
Yeah, but if you look all around, you can see it's clear skies.
Yeah. It's just here.
This feature sponsored by Pfizer. Come rain or shine, high winds or mild breezes, blue skies or gray. It's a great time to consider getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
So a friend told me about Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, and he was so smart. It changed my life. I used to spend a ridiculous amount of time trying to remove tomato sauce from inside our microwave and soap scum off the bathtub. It's like seriously magic, and my secret weapon for cleaning the kitchen, bathroom, doors, and walls, and even keeping my sneakers clean. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, greatest invention ever. Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, the unicorn of cleaning.
I's virtual meditation studio has never been busier. They need a remote assistant to realign their schedule. Indeed can help them hire great people fast. Indeed you do. Make calls, schedule virtual interviews, and talk to candidates right from your employer dashboard. EatUp.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply. 70% of the Fortune 100 choose Zoom. With phones, workplaces, apps, events, and video in a single platform, Zoom powers all of your communication. Large enterprises, small businesses, and individuals use the secure Zoom platform to enable new ways of working, learning, hosting events, and supporting their customers. And now you can save.
So I'm glad that I stopped reading the second Witcher book like I thought I should have.
Yeah.
Because I'm like the fourth episode in, and it's covering exactly where I stopped.
Really?
Yeah. It jumps around. I'm like, oh man, yeah, I recognize this scene from the book. I'm so glad that I stopped.
Making Moves is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs.
The 2005 Texas Longhorns began the season ranked number 2.
Got to remember, there's a new Yasker song that I need to look up on Spotify, see if it's on there yet. From the Bard.
Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
Teams that win college bowls have great recruits, and great recruiting starts with great conversations. That's why when you post a job for free, LinkedIn Jobs taps into a network of over 770 million professionals to find the right people for your role. LinkedIn Jobs helps you narrow down to only the most qualified candidates, which means you can start hiring the right people faster. Go to linkedin.com/sports to post your job for free. That's linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
There's the rest, and then there's the best. You're listening to the best sports talk show in the state, according to the South Carolina Broadcasters Association.
Lonzo was right. The grid of chemtrails has formed. There's very clear. I think what it is, Lonzo, it's a big hashtag in the sky. They're just marking us. They're like, hashtag, yeah, that Greenville, getting that smoke.
No, hashtag snow is what that is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a grid now. It's very clearly a grid in the sky.
And there are some of those that say,
Is that why I'm sneezing all of a sudden? Is it
yeah,
my nose is acting up.
Yeah.
I'm sneezy. Is it the chemtrails?
my nose is hurting really bad right now.
Yeah.
That's not a joke. It's
How's
not a
the
lie.
knee?
Yeah.
I can't be that then.
It's too far off. I mean, you can't. It's got to be a day to 2 days out from said event before it really starts acting.
Lonzo's
up.
most mad that he's got to go wash all the chemicals off his car later.
Yeah, it's not. It's yeah.
It's unbelievable. So I told you last segment, I'm very, very impressed with Shane Beamer in the transfer portal right now, and I'm impressed with Beamer in the transfer portal because the guys that he's getting, aren't just nobodies, right? Like he's getting guys that contributed and guys that fill gaps, fill needs, whether it's a need they already had or players having left due to running out of eligibility or hitting the draft or whatever. And he's getting good guys. Whatever he's saying is working. And I told you that I think it's about building relationships, right? It's about building relationships. This clip is from Nick Saban. We're in the post-game press conference. This is after the national championship game on Monday. And Nick Saban is sitting with two of his players, Will Anderson and Bryce Young, the quarterback, and the guy who basically runs the show on defense. They have done their answers. They have done their time. They're about to leave for Saban to get his time with the press. And when they are dismissed, Nick Saban does this.
Bryce and Will, thanks for your time. We'll let you head back to your locker room.
I'd like to say something. Can I say something?
Absolutely.
You know, these two guys that are sitting up here, they're not defined by one game. These guys played great for us all year. They're great competitors. They were great leaders on this team, and they contributed tremendously to the success of this team. And we would not be here without them. All right, and both of them take responsibility for the loss, but both of them contributed in a lot of ways in a positive way to giving us a chance to win and a chance to be here to have an opportunity to win. So I just want to thank them for that and let everybody know how proud I am of these two guys.
So that's how you do it, right? Tell me right now that that's not the kind of leader you're looking for, right? Like, tell me right now why that's not a guy you would want to play for. If you're there and you're a second string guy, but he's got that much appreciation for his players, you stay, right? How many coaches did we hear this year that got in trouble for almost blaming their team for losses? It's happened many times. Texas Tech, Kyle Keller is their basketball coach, if I recall correctly. And I remember at one point, a couple of years back, Stephen F. Austin was playing Texas Tech. And after the game was over and they lost, he said, quote, "The millennials today, they don't even watch college basketball. A lot of our guys didn't even know who these cats were because they don't watch the game. They're on their phone and doing that kind of stuff. I hate to say it, but as much as you or I or anybody in here watches the games, they don't, or the NBA. They might watch the slam dunk contest in February on TFT, whatever, but that's about the extent of it." Now, which one of those two guys you want to play for? If you're a parent, which one of those two guys do you want your kids to play for? This is what I mean. I've always heard the expression, your coach is your coach is not your friend, right? I got news for you. Moving forward, coach has kind of got to be your friend too. Coach has got to build you up. Coach has got to put you on the podium. Coach has got to make you forefront. And from what I can tell, Beamer's doing a great job of that. Saban still does a good job of it. Go watch some of the, Saban did a segment with Eli Manning a few months ago where he basically showed Eli what he does for the players. And everybody went, why does Saban do this segment, right? It seems out of character for Nick Saban to do this segment. Why would he do it? The answer is very simple. Because he wants prospective players, prospective recruits to see that, to see what he did for Will Anderson and Bryce Young there, and to go, damn, Nick Saban's got my back. Nick Saban's got my back. And for it to feel genuine, because it is. That's how you do it, folks. That's what coaches are now. You can get all the romanticism about the tough, gritty coach that puts his players through 2-a-day with no waters because he's toughing them up. That's all well and good. But the only thing that matters is, do the players want to play for that guy? And do you want to play for that guy, or do you want to play for Nick Saban, who just did what he did yesterday? I know that's an easy choice for me.
Oh, without a doubt. And you know, Saban has I don't know, people I think just believe he's arrogant and mean and all these things. But a lot of the guys where you see what they do behind the scenes is because they want you to see it. They want you to say, see, this is who I am. You don't see that with him, which makes it seem a lot more genuine.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I've worked with Nick Saban directly before when I was down in Florida. I've said this many times. If you can't do anything to make Nick Saban's life better, he's got no time for you, right? If you can't do anything to help him succeed, he's got no time for you. It's happened both ways for me. I've told you the story. Met him once in an elevator, had no words for me even after I said hi. A day later, I was doing my show live from the SEC spring meetings. He walked right up. Hey, man, Nick Saban, nicest guy. Why? Because I had a radio show that was going to help him reach the parents and the prospective recruits of the Florida Panhandle, which at the time was a fertile recruiting ground. But for the players, bends over backwards. Quick break to wrap up the hour after this on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate. The 2022 Upstate Golf Card is on sale for you now. If you have a golf lover in your family and you need a last-minute stocking stuffer, you goofed Christmas. Maybe you didn't get. They didn't want that. They didn't want that blanket. You got them. A pillow, really? Socks. Well, here's your chance to make good on it. How about you pick up the Upstate Golf Card? $99, getting you 18 holes of golf at 10 of the best upstate golf courses like the Preserve at Verde, the Rock Golf Club and Resort, Rolling Green, and others. It's on sale now, but supplies are limited. $99, 10 rounds of golf. You're not getting a better deal than $10 a round at 10 beautiful courses. But if you want it, you got to go to the website now, upstategolfcard.com, upstategolfcard.com. Get a couple of them. Take your best friend out golfing. Take your significant other out golfing. Make a day of it. They're going to love it. And they're never going to know that you spent $10 to take them golfing. I'm trying to help you. Help me help you. UpstateGolfCard.com. It's the 2022 Upstate Golf Card. I got to blow my damn nose.
Hey, it's Charlie James. It's time to call QC Kinetics. Non-surgical regenerative treatments for joint pain. We're talking lasting results using natural biologics. No surgeries, no pain meds, no steroids, and no downtime. This is really exciting stuff. Regenerative restorative treatments that actually encourage your body to heal itself using highly concentrated natural biologics. Patients are raving about it for hip pain relief, knee pain relief, shoulder and back pain relief. Don't let them keep giving you steroids, and don't let them tell you surgery is your only option. Get a free second opinion at QC Kinetics. Do it now and imagine life in 2022 without pain. Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics now. 864-448-3772. 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772.
Tomorrow on the NBA on ESPN Radio. The Portland Trailblazers begin a 6-game road trip, their longest of the season, when they face Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. The Trailblazers and Nuggets.
Tomorrow night at 9:30, the NBA plays here on ESPN Upstate.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This is your Wendy's wake-up call. Start your day with a better breakfast and get a free drink with any of our morning-making breakfast sandwiches. That's your favorite drink in a Wendy's cup, free. Fresh brewed coffee, free. Diet Coke, free. Vanilla Frosty Chino, that's cold brew plus Frosty Creamer plus free. So don't sleep on this deal. Get any size drink in a Wendy's cup free when you buy any breakfast sandwich. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's.
Limited time only. Wendy's, a la carte only. Offer valid upon request on most price qualifying item. Not valid for third-party delivery.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fansville, a college football utopia.
Fansville.
where the lakes are stocked with ice-cold Dr. Pepper, and the autumn winds rustle with the sweet smell of football glory. It's a land flowing with onion dip, where even the food pyramid is shaped like a hot dog. Every yard gained is a yard worth celebrating, and every celebration is beyond excessive. With ice-cold Dr. Pepper. Return to glory this season with Fansville by Dr. Pepper. Grab some today.
So I just heard a story for the first time that Burt Reynolds, a.k.a. Turd Ferguson, one time was so mad at the National Enquirer that he loaded his private helicopter up with thousands of pounds of horse manure from his farm, flew over their building, and dumped it all on top of their Christmas tree as revenge for some of the lies they had printed about him in the magazine. As if Burt Reynolds wasn't, as if he wasn't enough of an American hero.
I want that to be real. It sounds like there would be a lawsuit.
He said it on the Dan Le Batard show, and now I have to go find the audio of that. Back after this for hour number 3 of the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate.
Presents your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, powered by The Score. Carolina Panthers making some coaching changes while Matt Rule does appear to be safe going into another year as the head coach. Offensive line coach Pat Meyer, defensive line coach Frank Oakham, and special teams coordinator Chase Blackburn all reportedly been fired. Also speaking of the Panthers, they will reportedly interview Vikings offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak to their same position. Kubiak does remain the coordinator for the time being in Minnesota. However, recently they fired their head coach Mike Zimmer and general manager Rick Spielman, and it would appear that in all likelihood, the coaches in Minnesota will be looking for a new job. So Kubiak is able to interview with the Panthers. Download the Score app today, lightning fast sports alerts, so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
Have you heard Offsides with Mark Ryan?
Well, there are a ton of stories about that, actually. I don't know if it's confirmed. Huh.
Offsides with Mark Ryan. Now 3 to 7 p.m. on ESPN Upstate. Radio.com is now Odyssey. Download the Odyssey app and listen to ESPN Upstate and all the sports, news, music, and podcasts.
We'll make sure you and your people do everything possible to see that it is
all in one place. It's the Odyssey app for ESPN Upstate. Odyssey is your new home.
Brandon got to interview Liv Morgan.
Cool.
I don't think I've been more jealous of him until right now. The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. Great to be back with you for one more hour of sports talk radio excellence here on a beautiful yet chemtrail covered Wednesday afternoon. I am Rob Brown. He is Lonzo. So glad to have you joining us each and every day. Hope you're enjoying the show. At Primetime Carolina Podcast on Twitter. Says, I've been a Panthers fan my entire life. I've been using Twitter since 2010. I've never in my life seen the fan base agree on anything the way they agree on hating Matt Rule. End quote. I asked earlier in the show why it is that when I talk South Carolina football or women's basketball, I get South Carolina fans that contribute to the show. I've asked why it is when I talk Clemson athletics that I get Clemson fans contributing to the show. I've asked why it is that when I bring up the Carolina Hurricanes 4.5 hours from here, that I get hockey fans contributing to the show. I've asked why it is that when I bring up the Bills, the Giants, the Jets, the Falcons, I get contributors to the show. The one fan base that for the life of me, I cannot figure out why I can't get them to contribute to the show is the Panthers. We get so little Carolina Panthers fan interaction. I would feel comfortable saying less than any other fan base. I guess I get less contribution from the Panthers and their fans than I get from any other fan base. And I'm genuinely trying to figure out why. But I absolutely think that this Twitterer is correct. All season long, I did the Carolina Kickoff Show, where I was out at Wings Etc. Grill and Pub in Boiling Springs on Classic Rock 101.1. And there were Panthers fans there. The number dwindled just a little bit as the season progressed, or I guess degressed, depending on how you're looking at it. But there were Panthers fans there. And there were 7 or 8 that every week would come sit outside on the back porch while I did the show, whether it was the early kickoff at 11:30 or a late game kickoff for the few games the Panthers featured later in the day. And I'd get some nods. I'd get some head shakes no when I talked about the Panthers. But the only topic that I would get them to speak out on to where I could hear them, to where they would interact with the show, to where they would interact with me on the air, was when I talked about Matt Rule and my belief that it's time to move on from him. That is the only consistent interaction I got from Panthers fans. If Matt Rule gets fired today, if we break the glass later and tell you that Matt Rule has been relieved of his duties from the Carolina Panthers, is that the force field that is keeping you from having stuff to say, right? Like I've said a number of times, and I wonder if this is it. I wonder if this is the reason why. I've said a number of times on and off the air that the problem for me is not just Matt Rule. The problem for me is the decision-making process in the front office. And I can put some of it on Tepper. I can put some of it on Fitterer. I can put some of it on Matt Rule. All three of them are the 3 key decision makers in the front office. Is the decision making so bad that it is driving you guys from caring enough to talk about this football team? Is the decision making so bad that it prevents you from having anything to say about this team? I have to wonder. Because I think it's what's keeping the team from being good. Now, I'm not an idiot. I mean, I am an idiot, but in this case, I know what I'm talking about. At the end of the day, the thing that gets fans most involved, most wanting to talk is what? It's winning. It's winning. You start winning games, fans start coming out. Everywhere I have been, in the footprint of every NFL team and college football team that I've ever been around, when the team sucks, the hardcore fans will come out to complain about it, will come out to talk about it. But the majority of regular fans, they go quiet. They go quiet. They don't have any input because it's bad. And as we've talked about on the show many times, sports are an investment. It is an investment of your time. The most valuable thing you have in life is time. It is an investment of your time, of your most precious resource. It is an investment of your money. Whether you're paying for tickets to games, you're paying for new gear, you're paying for a cable service so you can watch your team. Anybody who's a fan is investing time, money, energy, and emotion into their teams. And anything you invest in, you expect a return on investment. Otherwise, it's a bad investment, right? If you're going to say, now, it does not have to just be, it does not just translate to wins on the field. Historically speaking, the Saints have been a joke of a franchise. The return on investment for me has been a Super Bowl win, obviously, back in 2009. But the return on investment for me is game day. It's game day. It's watching with other people who share the same love that I share. It's texting back and forth and video calling my friends and family back home to talk about the Saints. It's having something to talk about when I have nothing else to talk about with them. That's the return on investment. The difference is the Saints have been a franchise for what? Coming up on 80 years now. Whatever, 60. Did you get the point? Carolina's got, what? Not quite 30 years on the books. So I don't know if they have that family lineage that a lot of older NFL teams do. So there really isn't, and tell me if I'm wrong here, there's not a lot of return on investment for being a Panther fan right now, is there? Like, I don't see you guys gathering in big groups to watch the Panthers. That's it. When I was doing the Sunday show this year, there were a handful of Panthers fans that showed up, but it was like big groups. To me, the unfortunate part about being a Panthers fan right now is that there's no return on investment. You're not getting wins. You're not getting progress. You're not getting a head coach that shows he's competent. And because it's still one of the relatively newest teams. It is one of the relatively newest teams in the NFL. It's not like you're getting a ton of emotional companionship out of other Panthers fans. For the most part, it seems that you guys are not really excited as a fan base, right? So when you go out and you're wearing your Panthers gear, if you do, it's not like you're bumping into other Panthers fans and going, hey, keep pounding. Hey, go Panthers. How about that big year, huh? How about that big win we had? I don't see it. I go out bar to bar on NFL Sundays, and I see at one bar 40, 50, 60 Bills fans gathered together. At another one, 40, 50, 60, 70 Steelers fans gathered together. At another one, 30, 40 Patriots fans gathered together. At another one, 30 or 40 Dolphins fans. I see that around the upstate. I don't see that out of the Panthers. There's no return on investment. How do we fix that problem?
I guess this may be a matter of where you go, because the places I go, I see Panther gear all the time. So, and yeah, I see other stuff too, but I see Panthers gear all the time. And do they do what you're talking about, going up and hey man, how about that game, that kind of stuff? I don't see that very often at all with any fan base, but I don't go places where they gather. But I guarantee you there are places where Panthers fans do gather in the upstate. There are restaurants, there are bars, there are places where they do. You just haven't happened upon them.
I mean, maybe, but I consider myself a pretty out and about guy.
But the upstate is more than just Greenville. And I
agree.
I mean, we've got Spartanburg. We've got a bunch of other places where people do gather.
I guess maybe it is me. Maybe I'm just not seeing them. But I think I can transition that to, yeah, we do have Spartanburg, and we're on the air in Spartanburg. And we take calls and texts from Spartanburg. We get so little interaction with Panthers fans. I'm not saying I don't see Panthers gear.
And the significance of Spartanburg is that's where they've trained in the past. And you got to go up there once, and I've been up there usually a couple times a year when there's training camp going on, and there's Panthers gear all over the place. And when I've been there, especially pre-COVID, the place was pretty busy all the time of people being there to watch practice. And you're not there watching if you don't care about the team.
I agree. Now, I wonder what percentage of those people are like folks from Charlotte who came down to watch training camp. And I'm sure it's not an insignificant number. I have driven 4 hours from Destin over to Baton Rouge or up to New Orleans to watch Saints training camp here and there because it's a cool experience. It's different, right? You get to see not just practice, but you get to interact with the players more than any other situation. I saw when we were there last year, I saw a number of Panthers players that were making their way over to the sideline and yucking it up with the fans. Of course they do.
And there's constantly when they're here, and it just makes sense that there are pictures and videos of those guys out and about in the area. And usually when they're out and about, if you see a picture of them, you see a picture of a fan with some gear on.
Yeah, I agree. I see gear. I'm not saying I don't see Panther stuff. I do. Saw a guy in the grocery store yesterday that was panthered out top to bottom. I'm not saying I don't see it. I'm saying I don't see for being a place that is supposed to be Panthers country. I don't see the expansive interaction that I've seen in other markets I've been in that are not in the city the team's in, but in that area, right? I don't see it. And when I talk about Clemson, we get Clemson callers. I talk about the Gamecocks, I get South Carolina callers. I talk about the Hurricanes, I get texters on the line. When I talked about Georgia football, we got a number in our Facebook stream yesterday. We had like 5 Georgia fans show up to gloat a little bit. Falcons fans text this show when we talk about the ATL, the Braves. It's like the one team that I struggle to get interaction with are Panthers fans. And I wonder if it is just because, unfortunately, the team is bad and the franchise does not seem to be showing any forward momentum. I don't know. All right, a couple of texts that have come in on the Preferred Home Services text line here at the Ingalls Market Studios. Let's see here. Let's go through some of the ones we missed. We talked about Shane Beamer working the transfer portal. Texter says, Beamer's been listening to No Scrubs on repeat during this transfer portal season. Man, he don't want no scrubs. A scrub is a player that can't get no love from me. Texter says, question about the snow and chemtrails. Is it safe to eat snow cream made from snow that may have chemtrail particles in it? Asking for a friend.
Yeah, you're breathing it in. You might as well eat it.
Direct exposure will turn you into a Bigfoot, is what I understand about chemtrails.
Which is perfectly acceptable if you live in Pickens County, so you're all right.
Plus, you get the whole interstellar teleportation ability that comes with it, which is pretty dope. You know?
And I believe there might be a hive mind associated with it, so you get some knowledge that you didn't have.
Knowledge of all the other Bigfoots if you breathe in too much chemtrails. Yeah. Texter says, you two, you don't even know what you don't know. Rob spent too much time on the yacht, i.e. in the lap of luxury. What's your excuse, Alonzo?
Just scraping, man. Just getting by.
Texter says, the chemtrails are intended to hurt Clemson football. They are specifically formulated to interact with Pickens County cow manure to diminish offensive productivity. Make no mistakes, Clemson wins the national championship every year if Dr. Fauci, a clandestine SEC fan, isn't keeping the man down.
I knew it.
I knew it.
I knew it.
Fauci's a big SEC guy. No doubt about it. I'd just like to point out, since Dr. Fauci came on the scene, the SEC's won 3 straight national championships. You can't tell me they aren't correlated, just like you can't tell me chemtrails don't equal snow. Mark it down. It's a fact. Texas says, rumor is Urban Meyer may be plotting to drop horse poop on your car, Rob. Another texter says,
wait. No, I'm good. I'm not.
The decision made earlier in the season was due to the 3-0 strong start, and they went complete win mode, and now it's costing them the next 3 to 5 seasons. You might not be wrong. Honestly. One more year, unless Matt Rule turns it around next year, you're looking at a 3-season rebuild, right? Because you're firing a coach after 3 years. He's got to keep getting paid money, which means you lose money on the ability to get the next guy in. You got to retool the whole coaching staff, the whole roster to fit whatever that coaching staff is. You're not wrong. Texas says, Rob, let's see. Living 24/7 in strip clubs might be out and about in Florida, but it's not South Carolina. All right, listen. Your boy has a propensity to hang out and look at watering holes. Okay. And I'd be lying to you if I told you I hadn't spent some amount of time in gentlemen's establishments over the years of my life. This may shock you. I just like going places and seeing things where people are.
When's the last time you hung out at the mall?
The lady friend and I were at the Haywood Mall weekend before last.
Did you like sit down in one of the old man seats and just watch people go by to see how much Panthers gear
Do
there
you
was?
not do that? You should people watching them all. It's incredible.
Yeah, that's why I'm out. One of the main reasons to go.
Yeah, like she'll go, she's like, I want to go into that store. I want to see if they have any new, bags or jewelry or whatever. And I'm like, all right, I'll sit right here. And I just sit there and people watch. People watching is insane at the mall.
Well, I also people watch and I see things that will make my wife's mouth go.
Correct.
And so I try to direct her away from that because
we will.
She hasn't learned not to do that. So
I will be the creep that like sneaks pictures when I see the thing and then text them to her who is a foot away from me so that we can share that moment together. Texas says the refusal from Rule to play Brady Christensen and Deontay Brown at their natural positions is disgusting. Yeah. I don't love the decision. That's what I'm saying. The decision-making process at all levels is bad. Texter says Panthers are terrible, and everyone my age 30-ish had NFL fandom before the Panthers were a thing. Now, that's the other part of it. I agree with that, right? If you were a fan before 95 or whatever it was, you already had a team. I would bet you there's a healthy number of people that go, oh, the Panthers are my second favorite team.
by the way, the Panthers are my second favorite team.
Right. There's a lot of people who will go, the Panthers are my second favorite team because they're from this area. But, you know, if you're younger than, I'm 36. I was well established in my fandom when the Panthers popped up. Granted, I wasn't here, but if I had been, I still would have been a Saints fan. I mean, I've liked the Panthers. And, of course, it doesn't help that a lot of the people that might have picked up the Panthers as their second favorite team ended up sharing a division with them, so you can't, right? Your second favorite team can't be in your division. Texter says, check out correlated.org. Oh, you know I'm doing that. Conspiracy theory website? Let's go. Texter said, need to find you a country church in the boondocks. Watch them. Okay. Watch them sacrifice a person. It'll change your life. I don't think that's happening.
And it's a different kind of church, I'm guessing.
I would suspect.
Yeah.
Another texter says, I've rooted steadfastly against the Panthers ever since Cam Newton joined the team. Well, that's dumb. Why? I don't like that he wears hats. The majority of the argument I've heard about Cam Newton is I don't like that he wears hats.
Or that he acts like a kid.
How dare he have fun playing again?
Yeah, I know. I don't get that either.
How atrocious. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. For a minute, I got a few more stories I want to hit before we get out for the day, including one of my favorites to ever watch play Major League Baseball is calling it a career. Tell you about that one. Why? The Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate.
What do you mean I'm not allowed to do that? Is that what you're saying? Coach lied. I thought he said we could grab their jersey or shirt or gear or whatever you call it, sweater. They were kids. What are they called? What is soccer? Jersey is a shirt.
Oh, it's a shirt.
It's a sweater.
It's a shirt. Kit's the whole thing.
Minnesota. However, recently they fired their head coach Mike Zimmer and general manager Rick Spielman, and it would appear that in all likelihood, the coaches in Minnesota will be looking for a new job. So Kubiak is able to interview. Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
State is your home for Furman Paladins men's basketball. Every play, every game on ESPN Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 971 FM Spartanburg. On your computer, smart speaker, and phone on the Odyssey app.
At Fisher Investments, our clients know we have their backs.
How do your clients know that?
By the way,
Because
they're
Fisher
back.
Investments is a fiduciary, the highest standard.
Oh, we're getting more?
We're there for our clients.
Oh, man, look at that.
First.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
We do it because
8,
it's the right thing to do.
10,
Our clients
11,
12, we know how
13 definite. The rest may just be the fallout chemicals.
Oh, no,
or-
there's even one back in the distance that's coming this way.
Oh, I counted that one. Yeah, we're at 13 currently.
And lifestyle, so we can tailor their portfolio to their specific needs. Our goal is to help them achieve a comfortable retirement.
sounds like a big responsibility. You must make big commissions then, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We have one single transparent fee that's structured so we do better when our clients do better. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you are switching to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Furman fans, you have 2 more opportunities to see your Paladin men's basketball team downtown at Bon Secours Wellness Arena as weekends at the Well continue. Both games in February, the 5th against UNCG, and on the 19th it's the Wofford Terriers. Tickets available now at FurmanPaladins.com. That's FurmanPaladins.com. 2-game packs, 4 single-game tickets available. Furman basketball, downtown, weekends at the Well at Bon Secours Wellness Arena. We'll see you there.
In late 2020, 630 people, including Meryl Streep, Tyler Perry, Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, Jonah Hill, and Ariana Grande, prepared to make a movie. The pandemic was raging, the country was fractured, and filmmaker Adam McKay had an urgent story to tell. The last movie ever made is the official podcast documenting the making of Don't Look Up, a new film now on Netflix. Out now on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free fix finder service can read the check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light, and give you possible solutions verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email.
Hope Rob comes back soon.
The free fix finder service, only at AutoZone. More details at AutoZone.com.
CSX, a growing Fortune 500 logistics company, has immediate openings for freight train conductors. If you're looking for a rewarding career offering paid training at nearly $25 per hour, competitive benefits, and you share a passion for...
Hey, they're doing an ad about they're looking for freight train conductors. You ever want to be a freight train conductor?
Man, it kind of sounds fun.
Yeah. Huh.
One of my friends, he's got a really cool job. He works for one of the train companies, and he basically watches a big map of where all the trains are and everything, and then sends messages to the conductors to like move their speed around. Basically, he just prevents train crashes. And I'm like, that sounds like an awesome job.
Yeah,
and the stress level's got to be at like 98.
Yeah. I mean, what if you yawned
Yeah.
and missed something?
We have now got listeners texting us in their best, tweeting and texting in their best. You can't text us pictures, unfortunately. But you can tweet them to me at The Rob Brown Show or email them to me at robbrown@espnupstate.com. This magnificent specimen, Lonzo. The fur-lined bucket hat, the bright yellow affliction shirt over a camouflage long-sleeve shirt, white jeans, fur-lined Uggs. Spectacular look. Thank you very much, Dark.
Yeah, I live in Lawrence County. That's like normal wear there. So yeah.
Texture just called him Cam Hello Kitty Newton. Golly, y'all some haters. Y'all some haters. Texture says, I'm a I'm a haughty intellectual, but he spelled it Hottie, and now that's my new nickname, Rob Haughty Intellectual Brown. Changing it on the stream right now. Right now.
Yeah, he actually is changing it on the stream right now, and that's fine.
Beautiful. All right. A couple of things I wanted to get into. John Lester has called it a career. He of 200 wins is calling it after 16 years. A three-time World Series champion told ESPN that at 38, his body just cannot keep up with the rigors of a major league season anymore. Made 30 or more starts 12 times during his career, 28 during his final season split between the Nats and the Cards. Resume includes 5 All-Star appearances, a 2.518 postseason ERA. He said, quote, "It's kind of run its course. It's getting harder for me physically. The little things that come out throughout the year turn into bigger things that hinder your performance. I'd like to think I'm a halfway decent self-evaluator. I don't want someone else telling me I can't do this anymore. I want to be able to hand my jersey over and say, thank you. It's been fun." That's probably the biggest deciding factor. Lester, of course, leaves a legacy of postseason success, won the World Series titles with the Boston Red Sox in 07 and 13, got the 3rd ring when he was with the Cubs in 2016, helping break the 108-year title drought. He also had playoff appearances in 08, 9, 14, 15, 17, and 18. Guy was effectively a fixture in the postseason. He said, quote, "I remember feeling nervous before Game 4 of the World Series in 2007. I remember standing on the mound in Game 5 against St. Louis in 2013 in a tie series, and a paper airplane got thrown from the upper deck that lands right behind me on the mound. I still remember looking at that, and I remember the turmoil of Game 7 in 2016. Of course, that was the one the Cubs won in extra innings." He that brought the cutter back into prominence is calling it a career, one of the best to ever do it. Thank you, John Lester. Great, great player. We'll miss that guy. Joe Judge out for the New York Giants. Of course, shocking absolutely nobody. He that decided on 3rd and 9 with their backs against the goal against the Washington football team to call a jumbo set quarterback sneak, not only risking his quarterback getting hurt in that game, but it was 3rd and 9. 3rd and 9. Has there in the history of the National Football League been a QB sneak that needed 5 or more to gain that's worked? Not a draw, not a power, not an ISO, not a run. A QB sneak. Has it ever happened? I'm going to go no. Joe Judge, 2 years with the G-Men and not a third shows that, yes, indeed, David Tepper, you can fire a coach after 2 years. It is absolutely allowed to do so. The move came a day after general manager Dave Gettleman retired after 4 seasons on the job. I suspect, ladies and gentlemen, that Gettleman did not so much retire as was given the opportunity. It's the old, you can quit or you're fired, your choice. We'll let you walk out of here with your head held high if you want to, or we can pink slip you. It's your choice. Judge has been on the hot seat all season long. He operated Monday as if he would remain, held a team meeting, spoke with ownership in the afternoon. The Giants did not mention that Judge would or would not return at the time, but then put out the news release announcing Gettleman's retirement. Judge had more meetings scheduled with the ownership scheduled yesterday. It was during one of those meetings that Judge was informed he would not return. Yeah, no shock there.
See, it's kind of messed up though, letting the person that you're going to fire go ahead and have meetings and things. Take care of that in the morning, you know?
Well, I think it came after the Gettleman retirement, right? Like they may not have known. Again, my suspicion.
So Gettleman had that much power that he could have kept him around?
No, I think they would have. I think they would have likely had Gettleman stuck around because this was Gettleman's hire. Maybe thought about giving him one more shot, one more year, 3rd year, right? Because if you think about it, up until about week 5 of this year, the Giants actually looked okay at the beginning of the year. They started out okay. Had a big road win in overtime against the Saints back, I think the week after the Saints beat Green Bay. New York went down into New Orleans and got a win, and they looked okay. But after Daniel Jones went down, this team was rudderless and had no direction at all. And I think with the new GM coming in, I suspect John Mara just said, hey, we're just going to wipe the slate and start the whole thing over. Let's just start the whole thing over. So Joe Judge is officially out now and will be there no longer. Last story before we take a break. Alabama Crimson Tide star wide receiver Jameson Williams did tear his ACL. That coming down from ESPN earlier this morning. Adam Schefter said sources inside the program told him that after surgery within the next 10 days, they believe Williams will be able to retain his sub 4.3 speed and expect a full recovery. He was hurt on that 40-yard catch pass from Bryce Young in the loss on Monday. Williams was wide open on the play, but after he had to twist his body going to the ground, that leg extended, popped his ACL, clutched his left leg before being taken off the field. He was walking under his own power, actually returned back to the field under his own power later on in the game, but was on the bench for the rest of it, was ruled out during the third quarter, came into the game with 75 catches for 1,507 yards, 15 touchdowns, average, how about this, Lonzo, 20.1 yards per catch did Jameson Williams.
That's not bad.
Ridiculous. Number 1 wide receiver prospect, number 6 overall prospect available for the 2022 NFL draft. And now he will focus on recovering from a torn ACL. Bummer for him.
Do you if you were planning on drafting him really high, do you still do it?
I think you have to, right?
Do you?
20.1 yards per catch.
Yeah.
Sub 4.340.
And they say he's going to retain the speed. There's no way you know that.
No, it's not. Well, let's be real. What's the draft? It's risk, man. It's lottery. You're playing the lottery when you play the draft. It's a risk. You get guys who work out, and then you find Marcus Colston in the 7th round. That's how it works. You find Tom Brady in the 7th round.
So I bet he drops. He would have to drop because the teams near the top who need receivers and need players, they're not going to take a chance on someone who they can't guarantee will be able to be out there on the field. But dropping may not be a bad thing for him because he'll get to go to a better team.
Sure story. I'm looking at the wide receivers coming into this draft overall. Jameson Williams is listed as number 2 behind Garrett Wilson. Traylon Burks, Ewan Dotson from Penn State, Drake London, David Bell, George Pickens from Georgia, Justin Ross from Clemson, who has declared for the draft, Calvin Austin III, and all these guys. Basically, after Jameson Williams, every other wide receiver is ranked as 20 or worse. All those guys I just read you. Add Wan'Dale Robinson from Kentucky, John Mechie from Alabama, and Khalil Shakir from Boise State. And those are the only receivers inside the top 100 players in the draft. So those are all 3rd-round guys. Jameson Williams, I'd bet you he still goes top 15. Some team will take a risk on the ACL surgery, especially if it goes well. Because for me, all he's got to do is come out to the combine if he's ready for it, which I don't know. I don't know how long the ACL therapy takes. But if that dude by draft time can go out there and put a 4.3 down in the 40, he'll get drafted in the top 20.
It also depends on the severity of the tear, too.
True.
So.
But I don't imagine you get the diagnosis of full recovery right off the gate if it wasn't a clean snap that can be easily repaired, right? But then again, I'm not a doctor, nor did I stay at a Holiday Express last night. So we'll see. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, you old school NBA fans, I got a guy I need you watching that nobody's paying attention to right now. A guy that you need to put eyes on right now. If you're a fan of old school, physical, tough basketball, there's a cat out there right now that you need eyes on. And if you don't have him, you're missing out. I'll tell you who it is when we come back on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate. That didn't even sound like it was close, Lonzo.
The media as the team searches for a new GM and head coach said he feels very good about the group of candidates they've got for the GM vacancy and that they'll hire the GM first.
There you go. Need a little help from the rim, but it still counts.
If this is the lowest moment he's had being with the Giants, Mara answered yes.
Shoulder's a little tight. Could be chemtrails.
Throwing off the barometric pressure in the air.
Yeah, absolutely.
Protocol. Darius Williams dealing with a shoulder injury. LA hosts Arizona in Monday's NFC wildcard game, 8:15 Eastern, ESPN TV. Buccaneers running backs Leonard Fournette and Giovanni Bernard and linebacker Levante David return to practice today. Tampa hosts Philadelphia on Sunday.
Buzz Market Studio. This is ESPN Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg. ESPN Upstate.
An Odyssey station.
Golfers, the best upstate deal on golf is back and on sale now. The 2022 Upstate Golf Card gets you a round of golf at 10 premier upstate courses, and it's still only $99. Grab your foursome and get your Upstate Golf Cards now to play courses including the Preserve at Verde, Willow Creek, Legacy Pines, Carolina Springs, and more. Order at theupstategolfcard.com. 10 rounds of golf for only $99. Upstategolfcard.com.
Did you see the things that I sent you? I sent you something on Facebook and something on Twitter.
That's dope. Who's definitely getting a enterprise.
I don't know how expensive it'd be, but it looks really cool.
Ric Flair. Greatness recognizes greatness, Alonzo.
Wonder who else was in contention to be the most hated. Roman, maybe? I don't know. Hope MJF shows up in the Royal Rumble. That would be funny.
That'd be incredible. Wouldn't happen, but it would be incredible.
There have been rumors out there that Jericho is a possibility to show up in the Royal Rumble. Yeah, I don't see it happening either, but, you know, after the
It's cool
forbidden
that they're
door
opening
has been opened.
Yeah, but they're not going to do it to their direct main competition.
Maybe some ROH people show up since their company doesn't exist at the moment.
You don't want to miss out on thousands. Jackson Hewitt knows that. Discover thousands in tax credits and get your biggest refund guaranteed. Learn more at jacksonhewitt.com.
At Churches, we're doing 10 pieces of our crave-worthy comfort-made
QC Kinetics in the final break.
You know what we didn't do in the last couple of weeks that I've forgotten about completely? Faces and heels. Might do it tomorrow.
Cutting the price of your wireless bill feels good. Really good. Actually, it feels great.
I could like write it on your Google Doc every day until you do it if you want. I don't like the segment, so because I don't feel like I come out of it as a good person ever. So I feel guilty every time we play that game.
No, that show's great. That game's great. Have you guys seen the rumors of Tom Cruise showing up in Doctor Strange as an Iron Man variant? Ooh. Don't hate it.
I do. He's too short.
It's a variant.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. is not the biggest dude in the world.
He comes from a universe of short people. It's the halfling
Robert Downey Jr.
multiverse.
is 5'9", listed as 5'9", so you know he's like 5'8".
Somebody else is like 5'2", though. So.
All right, heading very quickly towards the end of the show. The website that was sent to me earlier, correlated.org. I really like this website. It's actually not a conspiracy site.
Are there two R's?
Yes.
Okay, I just checked.
C-O-R-R-E.
Not that I'm going there. I was just curious.
It's not bad. Basically, it's a website that's been created to show that correlation does not equal causation, and they basically compare two things that really don't have a lot to do with each other and how they correlate with each other.
You mean like chemtrails and snow?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Again, if you are looking outside and you're going, there's so many airplanes leaving chemtrails in the sky.
If you sound like that, I want to meet you because I don't think there's anybody out there that actually sounds like that. Maybe there is.
You do the country voice more than I do.
That wasn't a country voice. That sounded like I don't know.
Yes.
That sounded like Snoop.
you were looking out, if you're looking out and you're going, wow, there's a lot of airplanes leaving chemtrails in the air. There's an airport right there, and that's where planes hang out, is by airports predominantly in large numbers. And
there are actually a couple of airports around here,
Yeah.
but I don't think those kind of planes that we're seeing actually come from the airports around here.
what kind of planes are we seeing?
They're military jets, obviously, because without a doubt, they're military jets. They're sent out to put out the chemtrails. They're kept at a distance where, unless you have, a pretty good lens on your camera or something, you can't see what they are or see the markings on them. Because actually, if you look, there probably are no markings.
They are.
You don't need black helicopters when you got that many planes out doing what they're doing. Just saying.
Those planes are 33,000 feet above you.
Oh, like you look at.
They're just planes with
They're
regular,
not
regular people in them going to regular
No,
places.
no. Commercial airlines back and forth doing
You
what
think
they're
it's
doing.
just like two planes going back and
No,
forth?
we've seen multiples, and none of them are going in the direction of the airport.
They are going towards Atlanta. There's a very big airport in Atlanta.
All right.
And Athens.
I have
Charlotte.
joked about.
Can we stop with the chemtrails? It's just
Yeah, can we stop with the chemtrails? I don't like what my nose is doing right now.
It's just water vapor and exhaust from an engine, because planes have engines. That's all.
All right, Leslie Nielsen, please disperse. Nothing to see here. Okay. Yeah, it's an old reference, but somebody got it.
And don't call me Shirley.
Thank you.
Let me ask you a question.
I don't like how your tone.
Sports. We're going back to sports here.
Okay, good.
All right. So last week, LSU played. Who did LSU play? Kansas State, the Wildcats, in the Texas Bowl. They do everything that better down in Texas, including the bowls. I don't know why he's got a lisp at the end there, but that's just what they do down in Texas.
You sound like a prospector, but there's gold in them there hills.
So, Brian Kelly takes over at LSU. He's at the game, though he does not coach it, obviously. And LSU quarterback Garrett Nussmeier decided to sit out the game. All right. LSU had no available quarterbacks on the roster. In fact, they had to run a wide receiver out as their quarterback. Nussmeier had a red shirt on him. All right. So if he doesn't play in that game, because bowl games count against your red shirt eligibility, if he plays in that game, he burns an entire year of eligibility off to play in the Texas Bowl down in, Arlington or wherever it was. I didn't watch it because who cares?
Wait a minute. Bowl games matter. Why is he not playing in this
All right,
game?
so here's my question. Nussmeier sat out the game rather than serve as LSU starting quarterback in a move to preserve a redshirt season. Interim coach Brad Davis said that was a collective decision between Nussmeier and the team. Davis said, quote, "We didn't want to put him in that position," end quote. The Athletic reported on Tuesday that LSU left the decision up to Nussmeier, and LSU would have allowed him to play if he wanted to, but it would have burned a red shirt. Nussmeier finally sat with his family, and he and his family elected to have him sit out the final 2 games of the regular season, including the bowl game, so that he would not burn up his red shirt year. So LSU went into that game devoid of any scholarship quarterbacks. They handed the reins off to wide receiver John Trey Kirkland, which basically created a one-dimensional offense where all they could do was run the football. So, for those of you that have said that sitting out bowl games is selfish, and these bowl games mean something, and they're important, and it's important to be there for your team, I would ask you the question. Should Garrett Nussmeier have burned up his year of eligibility to give his team a chance to win the Texas Bowl, because bowl games matter, or was he selfish for keeping 1 year of eligibility at the all but surefire loss that LSU would eventually take at the hands of Kansas State and the Texas Bowl. Was Nussmeier selfish for sitting out this game, maintaining his red shirt, and being eligible to play all 4 years moving forward?
I have a question. Why are there not more scholarship quarterbacks? Why are there not more quarterbacks on this team to where it doesn't make this a problem? Where are all the other quarterbacks? That makes it sound like they only had one guy the entire time. So if those quarterbacks were still there, did this, it wouldn't be a story.
They had one other one injured, and at this point, veteran Miles Brennan had said he was going to transfer. Now, he has exited the transfer portal and said that he will stay at LSU, and LSU has welcomed back Miles Brennan. But two of their quarterbacks were in the transfer portal, and one of them was injured. He was the fourth scholarship player on the roster that day, but he had to burn his redshirt year to be available. Here's the point that I'm making. Those of you that are telling me these players are selfish and that bowl games are important, I'm asking you the question. Would you say this kid's selfish? And I already hear your argument, which is, well, no, Rob, because it was either one game for his team or have redshirt availability for his team for the next 4 years.
Right. He is taking one for the team by not playing because he's making himself available for more years for the team.
So the bowl game's less important. Yes, of course it is. Is he selfish? No, of course he's not. This is the best decision for him. Frankly, it was also the best decision for the team. You could say,
if you were talking about being selfish, that maybe the two guys who decided to enter the transfer portal were selfish.
Maybe. You could say that. Miles Brennan decided to come back, by the way. So he's back on LSU's roster.
After he didn't play in a meaningless bowl game.
Correct?
Yes.
Correct. So I don't know. Just something to think about as we hit the road. Twitter trending topics to wrap it up next on The Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
QC.
Say about my friends at QC Kinetics. Listen, when you are born, you have connective joint tissue inside of all your joints, your wrists, your hips, your lower back, your knees, your elbows, your shoulders. And that connective tissue basically acts as a pad that goes between the bones and the nerves in your joint so they don't touch. And your body, when you are younger, that connective tissue wears down through usage, but it's able to regenerate itself. It heals and it replaces itself so that you can keep, moving your arms and legs without it hurting. But unfortunately, as we get older, that connective tissue, it kind of starts to slow its ability to heal itself and eventually stops regenerating. And when it does, parts that ain't supposed to touch start to touch. And when they do, they get inflamed, and that is where that pain comes from. And you're going to get told, you got to have a knee replacement, got to have a hip replacement, got to have a shoulder replacement. Well, before you do that, I just want you to call my friends at QC Kinetics or go to their website at qckinetics.com, qckinetics.com, qckinetics.com. And when you go there, you're going to find out about their non-surgical regenerative therapies. This therapy uses your body's own natural healing ability to restore and regenerate that connective tissue that is inside of your joints. It's going to help it bring it back. It's going to help your body heal it back up like it used to, and it's going to get rid of not just that joint pain, but maybe more importantly, the fear of it. It's going to let you get back to your regular day-to-day life doing all the things that you love to do without having to worry about how bad your hips and your lower back are going to hurt tomorrow. Give them a call right now at 864-448-3772, 864-448-3772. Mention the Rob Brown Show and get that first consultation for free with our friends at QC Kinetics.
Thursday, cloudy, high 54, and Friday, mostly sunny skies, high 53. Saturday, cloudy, high 44, Sunday, chance for snow, high 35. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Kuczynski on ESPN Upstate. Currently, it's 50.
Tomorrow on the NBA on ESPN Radio. The Portland Trailblazers begin a 6-day road trip, their longest of the season, when they face Nikola Jokic in the Denver Nuggets. Gives it up to Jokic, straight up dribble, try
Versus the Nuggets. Tomorrow night at 9:30, the NBA plays here on ESPN Upstate.
This is important news. If you have unfiled tax returns, the IRS is shifting gears and ramping up investigations on non-filers this year. If you failed to file your tax returns for a year or more, or you owe back taxes, now's the time to call Optima Tax Relief before the IRS finds you. Optima is America's #1 most trusted tax resolution firm, specialized in helping individuals, families, and businesses get right with the IRS. They're experts in the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, a powerful new program that can make resolving tax issues easier. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Optima's award-winning team has helped thousands of people protect their paychecks, bank accounts, homes, and businesses by putting their tax problems to rest, resolving over $1 billion in tax debts for their clients. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-935-7144. 800-935-7144. 800-935.
NXT was actually pretty good again last night.
Was it?
Yes.
It's on the DVR. Did
I gotta say there was a crowbar on a pole match.
I heard about it? Did AJ show up?
Yes.
Did he fight?
Yes, it was a good match.
Good.
He made Grayson Waller look good. Not that he's bad or anything. Grayson Waller did some good stuff too. But AJ makes everybody look good usually. So.
True story.
Just $30 for a month's supply. And right now, get your first online doctor's visit totally free when you go to forhims.com/joy. That's right, free. Zero copay, no expensive appointments, no awkward face-to-face conversations to get your prescription. Hims connects you to doctors online who can evaluate you and, if appropriate, prescribe your ED medication. And a pharmacy sends it right to your door. Hims makes it
And I don't know if you saw Monday or not, but Alexa is not ditching the character.
Bray Wyatt.
She does a segment while she's getting therapy.
We're gonna do that angle.
I think those are always fun, depending on who the actor is being the psychiatrist.
Right.
I mean, just think of Kane and Brian Daniel Bryan at the time when they were in therapy. That was good.
Sure, we have 30 seconds to tell you the privacy switch to progressive cooks. Well, we could try to fill the remaining time with awkward pauses. It's often done for comedic effect. Is it working? I can't tell if this is funny. Maybe this is so bad it's funny. Wow, we really peaked at the save big when we switched to progressive cards. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates.
This report is sponsored by DuckDuckGo. Protect your privacy for free with DuckDuckGo.
I bought football tickets for my husband's birthday, and now I'm in a football bubble. All I see online are articles and ads about football. I hate feeling manipulated. I downloaded DuckDuckGo and saw the difference right away. Take back your privacy online with DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter Trending Topics.
It is time for Twitter Trending Topics, where I tell Rob what is trending, and he will tell the entire world and the metaverse, the universe, the microverse, the Bigfoot verse, what he knows about it. All right, the first thing that's trending is Corey Graves.
I have not gotten to sit down and watch any wrestling so far this week.
Has nothing to do with any of that.
No. He believes in chemtrails.
Probably, but no. Corey Graves is trending, and this I didn't hit breaking news, but it's kind of breaking. He's been cleared to wrestle again.
Really?
Yes.
Interested in that? I kind of don't want him off the mic, to be honest.
I'm interested in some angles that they can do with a wrestler coming down.
Kind of like they did with Cole back in the day?
Yeah, except for
this guy can actually wrestle.
Yeah, I've never seen him wrestle before. And I heard back in the day in NXT, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
So
I'll say this. Dude had the dopest Titantron entrance of almost anybody that came out that night.
See, I haven't seen, when we were, for sure.
Yeah.
So I want to see what he can do and if they actually do something with it. All right, sticking with wrestling, and another person who's trending is Shawn Michaels.
Don't know why he's trending, though. I did see him pop up in a couple of tweets on my T earlier, including one where he dropped a super kick on Cena. And, I mean, he freaking connected with Cena's chin.
All right, there's an anniversary. 30 years ago today.
The Rockers.
He threw Marty through the window.
Yeah, true story.
I've seen Marty up close. Marty don't move too well anymore.
No. I ring announced and was a de facto manager for Marty Jannetty once with the same little group that I did when I wrestled with the tag team with the New Age Outlaws. The year before that, Marty Jannetty was there, and the bad guy that he was up against, the local bad guy, had a manager. So Jannetty asked me to be his mic that night, to be his manager that night. So I got to valet and punch the other manager in the dome.
Way to go.
It was awesome.
Last thing is trending, and I'm not going to tell you why. Danny Trejo.
Because Danny Trejo's awesome and should be trending every day.
Exactly.
Danny Trejo and Keanu Reeves should be trending every single day. That's it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed the show. We did. Thanks so much for hanging out. Offsides is next. Have a great day. And they're not chemtrails, they're contrails. They're just water vapor and exhaust fumes disturbing the upper atmosphere. That's all. See you tomorrow. Later, brother.
Stop stirring the pot, you shock jock.